Krishna and Balrama. Some 1,000 years ago, Kans, the cruel king of Mathura, was traveling with her sister Devki. Suddenly, he heard a voice from the heavens, stating that one of Devki's sons would be an incarnation of Lord Vishnu and he would kill him one day. So he put Devki and her husband Vasudeva in prison. Kans killed each child of the couple. Vasudeva's first wife, Rohini, was living in Gokul with the family of Vasudeva's friend Nand. When Devki's seventh son was to be born, God transferred the unborn child from her body to Rohini's body. This child was then born to Rohini and was named Balrama. When Devki's eighth son was born, everyone in Mathura except Devki and Vasudeva went to a long sleep. Vasudeva secretly went to Gokul and put his son beside Yashoda, Nand's wife, and took her newborn daughter to Mathura. Soon everyone was awake in Mathura. When Kans tried to kill the little girl, she flew to the heavens, saying that his killer had already taken birth in Gokul. Kans was disappointed. In Gokul, Yashoda and Nand named their son Krishna. This child grew up to be a brave boy and killed many demons. Krishna and demon Trinavat. Kans was horrified after hearing that his killer had been born in Gokul. He sent his demons in different parts of Gokul to kill all newborn babies. One of these demons was Trinavat. He reached Nand's place where Yashoda was carrying little Krishna in her lap. Suddenly, the weight of the baby became so heavy that she could not carry him in her lap any longer. She put Krishna on the floor and went to do her household work. Trinavat transformed himself into a big cyclone. It suddenly turned very dark in Gokul. With the help of its great power and speed, the cyclone carried away Krishna with it. But it could not bear the heavy weight of the baby for a long time. Krishna was holding the demon's neck, so it could not even throw him away. Krishna slowly started pressing the neck of the cyclone. So Trinavat felt it very difficult to breathe. He ultimately died and fell on a huge rock in Gokul. Everyone in Gokul was now worriedly searching for Krishna. When they saw him playing on the demon's dead body, they hurriedly took him away and rejoiced at the death of Trinavat. Whole universe in the mouth. One day, little Krishna was playing with the Gopas, his shepherd friends. He suddenly saw the mud on the ground and was attracted towards it. He hid from his friends and ate some of the mud. But unfortunately, the Gopas saw him and complained to Mother Yashoda about his behavior. Yashoda held a long stick in her hands and angrily rushed to Krishna. She started scolding and beating Krishna. She knew that her son might fall sick. She did not want her child to develop such a bad habit. Due to this reason, she was scolding her dear son. Krishna started weeping bitterly and told that he had not eaten mud. So Yashoda asked him to open his mouth and show it to her. As soon as little Krishna opened his mouth, Yashoda saw all the mountains, rivers, oceans, sun, moon, stars, Lord Brahma, and all other demigods in his mouth. She was surprised to see the whole universe in his mouth. She had realized that his son was the Almighty Lord himself. But when she saw her dear son weeping, she forgot about all this and hugged her son lovingly. Krishna and the Gopis. The Gopas were a tribe of holy shepherds living in Gokul. Nand and Yashoda were their king and queen respectively. The female shepherds or the wife of the Gopas were called Gopis. All the gopis had a great attraction for little Krishna. They knew that Krishna dearly loved butter and curd, so the gopis would collect the butter and curd in earthen vessels. They would hang the vessels in their houses so that Krishna might visit their houses to eat the butter and curd stealthily. Krishna very well understood the gopis' desire, so he used to visit the houses of the gopis along with his friends. He would break the vessels to steal and eat the delicious butter and curd. When the gopis saw the floors of their houses all messed, they would go to Yashoda to complain against Krishna. They never intended that Krishna should be scolded or beaten for his behavior. Their motive was to go to Nand's place to see the cute little Krishna. Therefore, when Mother Yashoda scolded Krishna for stealing the butter and curd, the gopis would themselves request Yashoda not to scold little Krishna. This way, the gopis played with little Krishna and showed their immense love for him. Krishna and boiling milk. One day, Mother Yashoda sent all the servants for the preparation of Indra Yagya. She herself was busy in churning curd. While she was busy with her work, little Krishna woke up from his sleep and started crying loudly. Yashoda put the curd aside and held her son in her arms. She started feeding him with milk. But just then she remembered that she had put the container of milk on the fire and the milk must have boiled. She hurriedly put Krishna down on his bed and rushed towards the kitchen. But Krishna's hunger was not satisfied till then. Mother Yashoda had given priority to the boiling milk and put him down from her lap. So Krishna got very angry. He held a stone and threw it to the vessel of the curd. The vessel broke and the curd started flowing from it. He then broke the vessel of butter too and distributed it among the monkeys of Gokul. When Yashoda returned and saw that it was Krishna's naughtiness, she scolded him, but when she saw him sad, she lovingly took him in her lap and started feeding him again. The accursed Arjuna trees. One day, Mother Yashoda got fed up with Krishna's mischievous behavior. She angrily decided to tie Krishna to a mortar. She took a rope and started tying Krishna, but the rope was short. So she took another one, but unfortunately it was short too. She tried many ropes, but none could perfectly tie Krishna to the mortar. Finally, she was tired. Seeing her mother tired, Krishna tied himself. Yashoda went to do her household work. In an attempt to move, Krishna let the mortar fall and started moving on his knees along with the mortar. He reached two Arjuna trees near the gate. He passed from the gap between them and the mortar got stuck in the gap. He tried to pull the mortar. Due to pressure, the two trees were uprooted and a bright light emerged. The trees changed into two humans, Nal Kuber and Manigriv. They told that they were cursed by sage Narad to change into trees. Now, by God's touch, they were freed from the curse. They thanked Krishna and returned to heaven. Hearing the noise of the falling trees, Nand and Yashoda rushed to the gate. Nand untied his son and took him in his arms. Krishna and the fruit seller. One day, Krishna was playing with his brother Balrama at home. Just then, a street vendor reached their gate. He was carrying a fruit basket over her head and calling out people to buy fruit. Krishna heard his voice and hurriedly ran towards the gate to see the street vendor. He was attracted by juicy fruits in her basket. He ran towards the kitchen and carried some rice in his fist. he went to the fruit seller and offered the rice in his fist. He wanted to get the fruit in exchange of rice. But when he opened his fist, it had only a few grains. The rest had fallen on the floor through the gaps between his fingers. It was a joyful sight for the fruit seller to see this innocent behavior of Krishna. He smilingly gave all the juicy fruits to Krishna and took nothing in return. When the fruit seller returned to his cottage, he saw that his basket was filled with gold coins and ornaments. He realized that it had occurred by the grace of God. He was overwhelmed. He prayed to the Lord and thanked him for his gift. Krishna resides in Vrindavan. The demons of the cruel Kans had started to visit Gokul frequently, trying to kill little Krishna and to trouble the Gokul residents. They caused great damage to the life and property of the Gokul residents. Everyone was worried about the repeated visits of the demons. The two Arjuna trees at the gate of the Nand had been uprooted without any storm. People thought that it was also a mischief of some demon. So all the Gopas under the leadership of Nand and Yashoda decided to leave Gokul and take shelter in Vrindavan. Bulls and cows were yoked to the carts and all the luggage was loaded onto the bullock carts. All the gopis and the children sat on the carts while the Gopas took nightsticks, bows, arrows and spears. They walked on foot to guide the carts and also to protect the gopis and the children. Rohini, along with her son Balrama, and Yashoda, along with her son Krishna, was sitting on the same bullock cart. All other gopis were talking and appreciating the two beautiful brothers throughout their journey. This way, Nand's family, along with all the Gopas, left Gokul and went to reside in Vrindavan. Krishna kills Bakasur. One day, Baka, a demon of Kans, took the form of a giant crane and visited Vrindavan. He sat near a river. When the Gopas, along with Krishna, took their cattle near the river to quench their thirst, they were frightened to see the giant crane of the size of a mountain. The Gopas started running away towards their houses along with their cattle. At the same moment, Bakasur pounced upon little Krishna and carried him away in his enormous and pointed beak. As soon as Krishna entered his mouth, he started increasing the temperature of his body inside his beak. His body became as hot as fire. Bakasur's mouth began to burn. He at once threw Krishna out of his beak. Now he tried to attack Krishna with the tip of his pointed beak. But Krishna held both the upper and lower beaks of the crane. He stood on the lower beak and began opening the upper beak with his hands. When the beak was fully opened, he spread the upper beak even more apart, so that Bakasur's body might be divided into two halves. Thus Bakasur died. All the Gopas rejoiced at the death of Bakasur and appreciated their friend Krishna. Krishna kills Vyomasur. Maya the Nava was the king of demons. His son Vyoma was a close friend of Kans. He wished for the goodwill of his dear friend. So he decided to visit Vrindavan and kill Nand's son Krishna and all his Gopa friends. He took the form of a Gopa child and went to play with Krishna and his friends. They were playing a game in which some Gopas were enacting as sheep, some as thieves, and some as the owners of the sheep. The thieves would steal the sheep secretly from the owners and would hide them somewhere. Vyomasur was the thief in the game. He started stealing all the sheep Gopas one by one and put them in a cave. He even put the thief Gopas in the cave. He blocked the entrance of the cave with a heavy rock. When only a few Gopas were left, Krishna began doubting Vyomasur. Krishna secretly followed him. As soon as he put another Gopa child in the cave, Krishna caught him. Vyomasur changed into his real form, but Krishna hit him hard on his head and he died. He then removed the rock and took his friends out of the cave. Krishna kills the cow monster. When Krishna was 3 years old, he became very stubborn. He now started insisting that, like the other Gopas, he would also take his cattle for grazing in the fields along with Balrama. His family did not like this, but at last his father agreed to this and allowed him and Balrama to take the cattle for grazing. The two brothers and the Gopas took their cattle in a nearby forest. While the cattle were grazing, Krishna, Balrama and his friends started playing. Just then, Vats, a demon of Kans, took the form of a cow and started to graze with the cattle. He had planned that he would kill Krishna as soon as he got the chance. But Krishna at once identified that he was a demon. He also informed Balrama about this. The two brothers secretly approached the demon. Vatsasur saw them and tried to attack Krishna, but Balrama hit him hard. Krishna held the cow's tail and threw it into a nearby lake. Vatsasur changed into its real form. It was badly injured and died at once. All the children were happy to be safe. They praised Krishna and Balrama for their courage and victory. Krishna and Aghasur. One day, Aghasur, the younger brother of Bakasur, took the form of a very big python. He opened his giant mouth and lay on a road in Vrindavan. He was very angry at the killing of his brother. He intended to take the revenge of his death from Krishna. When Krishna and the Gopas reached the road along with their cattle, they thought of the open mouth to be a big cave. So they fearlessly went inside. They thought that if anything went wrong, Krishna would definitely save them. But Krishna identified that it was a giant python. He shouted at the Gopas not to enter, but his voice could not be heard by them as they had already entered the giant opened mouth. To save his friends and the cattle, Krishna also went inside Aghasur's mouth. Inside his mouth, Krishna began to increase the size of his body. Aghasur started facing difficulty in breathing. Finally, Krishna's body became so big that it could not remain inside the snake's body. So Aghasur's body burst and he died. Krishna came back to his real size and moved out of the dead snake along with his friends. The Gopas thanked Krishna for saving their life. Brahma tests Krishna. One day, Lord Brahma saw that Krishna was playing with his friends and their cattle were grazing in the fields. He decided to test Krishna and stole all the grazing cows. With the help of his magic, he made the cattle sleep in a dark cave. The Gopas became worried and Krishna set out in search of the cattle. When Krishna had left, Lord Brahma stole his Gopa friends and made them sleep with the cattle. But Brahma's mischief could not be hidden from Krishna. He discovered that everything was planned by Lord Brahma. So Krishna took the form of all the hidden cows and the Gopas. For 1 year, he lived in Vrindavan in this form. 1 year of a human being is like one moment for the Lord. When Lord Brahma saw that the cattle and the Gopas were sleeping in the cave, but similar Gopas were playing with Krishna in Vrindavan, he was very surprised. Suddenly, all the duplicate cattle and gopas changed into Lord Vishnu and then vanished. Brahma realized that Krishna was truly the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. He apologized to Krishna and returned all the cattle and the gopas. After greeting Krishna, Lord Brahma returned to heaven. Dhenukasur in Talvan. One day, all the Gopa friends came to Krishna and Balrama and expressed their desire to go to Talvan to eat the tasty fruits there. But the problem was that in Talvan there lived a demon named Dhenuka. He had changed himself into a donkey and lived in Talvan with his family. If any human or animal would pass near Talvan, his family would kill and eat it. So Krishna and Balrama made a plan and went to Talvan. Balrama went near a tree and shook it violently. The noise of the shaking tree reached Dhenukasur and he came running towards the place where Balrama was shaking the tree. Balrama at once held the hind limbs of the donkey and struck him against a tree and killed him. Similarly, Krishna and Balrama held the limbs of all the members of his family and killed them by striking them against separate trees. Now Talvan had become a peaceful place for humans and animals. The Gopas would now go there anytime and eat the tasty fruits without the fear of any demon. Krishna and the forest fire. One day, Krishna was playing with Balrama and the Gopas. Their cattle were grazing in the fields. While grazing, the cattle lost their way and reached the forests of Moonj. They tried hard to return, but could not find their way. When the Gopas realized that their cattle had been lost, they became worried. They all set out in search of the cattle. They searched far and wide and somehow found the cattle in the forests of Moonj. But just then, a terrible forest fire broke out. All the cows and the Gopas were frightened to see the great fire. They started running here and there to save their lives. When Balrama and Krishna saw them worried, they decided to sort out the problem. Balrama began to gather the cattle and the Gopas and tried to pacify them. Krishna asked everyone to close his eyes and remember the Lord. As soon as they closed their eyes, Krishna swallowed the whole of the terrible forest fire. He then asked them to open their eyes fearlessly. They opened their eyes and saw that the fire had been put out. This way, Krishna saved all the cows, the Gopas, and the forest from being burnt. Krishna and Kaliya snake. Once the Kaliya snake lived in river Yamuna in Vrindavan with his family. The Yamuna had become highly poisonous due to him. One day, some Gopas reached near the Yamuna while grazing their cattle. They were thirsty, so the Gopas and the cattle drank the poisonous water of the Yamuna. Due to the poison, they started losing their senses and finally died. Krishna brought them back to life using his magical powers. He decided to shoo away Kaliya from the Yamuna in order to make it poison-free. He jumped into the river and started swimming near Kaliya's place. This agitated Kaliya. He injected his poison in Krishna's body and trapped him in his body. Krishna became unconscious for some time, but when he regained his senses, he started increasing the size of his body. Kaliya could not hold him longer. His body started giving in. He released Krishna. Krishna then jumped over his hood and started playing the flute and dancing. He jumped on every hood that Kaliya raised. Due to his footsteps, Kaliya's hoods were deeply hurt. When Kalia's wives prayed to Krishna, he spared Kalia. On Krishna's orders, Kalia and his family left the Yamuna and went to live on Ramnak Islands. Balrama kills demon Pralamb. One day, a demon friend of Kans named Pralamb came to Vrindavan. He changed himself into a Gopa child and started playing with Krishna and Balrama along with the other Gopas. There were two teams in the game. It was pre-decided that the children from the losing team would carry the children of the winning team on their backs to some distance. When the game was over, Balrama's team was the winner, while Pralamb's team had lost the game. So Pralamb carried Balrama on his back and started moving on his knees. His speed suddenly increased and he started running very fast. While he was running, he changed back into his demon form and flew away carrying Balrama towards Mathura. All the Gopas were frightened to see Balrama on the demon's back. Krishna was worried too. He started to think of a solution to save Balrama. But Balrama was not at all frightened. He hit the demonic hard on his head. It hurt the demon very hard, and his head burst open and blood started flowing. He fell on the floor and died. Balrama then got down from his back. Everyone was happy at the death of Pralamb. Krishna and Govardhan Mountain. On the second day of Deepavali, the people of Vrindavan would perform a sacred yagya to impress Indra, the god of rains. But Krishna told them that instead of worshipping Indra, they should worship Govardhan, the great mountain, because it gave them all the useful resources for their living. People were impressed by the idea, so they worshipped Govardhan mountain instead of Indra. This made Indra very angry, as he felt insulted. He sat on his elephant Airavat and reached over Vrindavan. Using his magical powers, he collected dense black clouds and soon it started raining heavily. Fierce thunders were heard and repeated lightning was seen. The people and the cattle started running here and there to save their lives. To protect them, Krishna held Govardhan mountain like an umbrella on the little finger of his left hand continuously for 7 days. The people carried all their belongings and their cattle and safely moved under Govardhan. At last, Indra was tired, so he stopped the rains. All the people moved to their respective houses carrying their belongings and cattle. Krishna put Govardhan back at its place. Now Indra's pride was shattered and he apologized to Krishna for his mistake. Krishna saves his father. It was the 11th day of the month of Kartik. Krishna's father Nand was on a full day fast. He stayed awake the whole night. It was a cloudy and moonlit night, so he could not make any estimation about the time. It was night, but Nand thought it was early morning, so he started taking a sacred bath in river Yamuna. During that time, a servant of Varuna, the lord of water, was swimming in the river. He held Nand and carried him to Varuna's palace. When Nand did not come out of water for a long time, the Gopas thought that he had been drowned in water. They started screaming. Hearing their scream, Krishna came running and jumped into river Yamuna. He reached Varuna's palace deep inside water. As soon as Varuna saw Krishna, he recognized that he was an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. He fell on his knees and apologized for capturing Nand. Krishna forgave him. He took his father and swam to the Yamuna where the Gopas were waiting. They both moved out of the river. The Gopas were very happy to see their leader alive. They thanked Krishna for saving Nan's life and appreciated him for his bravery. Krishna and Ras Leela. It was Purnima, the full moon day of the month of Shravan. During the evening, Krishna beautifully played the flute in the forests near Vrindavan. Hearing the melodious tune, all the gopis of Vrindavan forgot their attachment for their homes, members, their relatives, and for everything. They came running towards Krishna. Firstly, Krishna decided to test their devotion, so he asked them to return to their homes. But they refused to return. Seeing their true devotion, Krishna accepted them. Then Krishna took as many forms as the number of gopis present there, and one Krishna could be seen between every two gopis. Everyone joined his hands together and made a group and started performing the sacred Ras dance called Ras Leela on the melodious tune of Krishna's flute. Whole night, the gopis and Krishna performed the sacred Ras Leela. They returned to their homes in the morning on the advice of Krishna. But this Ras Leela was performed by the Lord in his heavenly form. In his child form, he was sleeping alongside his mother Yashoda in Nan's Bhavan the whole night. The members of the families of the gopis also saw that during night the gopis were at home only. Krishna and Muchkunda. Muchkunda was a powerful descendant of Ikshvaku dynasty, so all the gods asked him for help in the battle against demons. Muchkunda helped them win the battle. Pleased with him, the gods allowed him to ask for a boon. Muchkunda had not slept for several ages due to the battle, so he asked for a peaceful sleep. His wish was granted and he slept for many yugas. One day, demon Kalyavana attacked Krishna. To get rid of the demon, Krishna ran to Muchkunda's cave. The demon also followed. However, Krishna hid after quickly covering the body of Muchkunda with the silken robe that he was wearing. When the demon entered, he mistook the sleeping Muchkunda for Krishna and tugged at the robe. Muchkunda woke up. Looking around, he saw the fierce Kalyavana standing before him. He cast such a fiery gaze that the demon was burnt to ashes. Then, seeing the whole cave illuminated, he started searching for the source of the light and discovered Krishna standing at a distance. Muchkunda showed his devotion and asked Krishna to bless him so that he might always be able to live in the service of God. Krishna and King Nriga. Once there lived a king named Nriga. He was good and kind. He always helped the needy and the poor and regularly gave them gifts and alms. One day he promised to give a flock of cows to a Brahmin. But after some time, when a beggar arrived at his gates, Nriga gave the flock of cows to him. The Brahmin felt ignored this way. He was insulted and furiously cursed Nriga to turn into a chameleon and live in a dry well. He could be relieved of the curse only if he received the touch of the Lord. One day, Krishna and his Gopa friends came to play near the well in which Nriga was living in the form of a chameleon. While playing, their ball fell into the well. When the Gopas came to search for the ball, they were scared to see the huge chameleon. They rushed to Krishna for help. Krishna lowered his hands to fetch the chameleon out. As soon as he touched it, the chameleon changed into King Nriga. He narrated the story of the Brahmin's curse to him. He thanked Krishna for his divine touch that granted him a new lease of life. Krishna and the Accursed Snake. Once on the day of Shivratri, Nand went to Ambika forest. Balrama, Krishna and other Gopas also accompanied him. In the forest, they worshipped Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati at night. They were tired after the worship, so they slept at an open place outside a temple. While they were asleep, a big snake came crawling towards them. He started swallowing Nand from his legs. Feeling pain, Nand started screaming loudly. Hearing his screams, everyone woke up. The Gopa started to beat the snake using firelights. The snake's body got burnt at many places, but he still did not leave Nand. So Krishna came running to help his father. He kicked the snake hard. As soon as his foot touched the snake's body, a heavenly figure emerged from it. He told that he had been cursed to change into an ugly snake by a sage because he had made fun of his ugliness. Now he was freed from the curse due to the touch of the Lord's foot. He expressed his thanks to Lord Krishna. After seeking his blessings, he returned to heaven. Nand praised his son Krishna. His heart was filled with gratitude for Krishna and he lovingly hugged him. Demon Shankchur. It was the festival of Holi in Vrindavan. At night, Krishna and Balrama went to roam about in Vrindavan. The gopis also followed them. While they all were roaming in the fields, a demigod named Shankchur came wandering to Vrindavan. He was the servant of Kuber, the lord of the wealth. He saw the beautiful gopis in the field and was deeply attracted by their beauty and charm. He thought of a wicked plan to kidnap all the gopis in order to marry them. He carried away all the gopis. The gopis started weeping and shouting for help. Hearing their cries, Krishna and Balrama thought of an idea to help them. They uprooted 2 giant trees and ran towards the evil demigod to beat him. Seeing the 2 brothers running towards him, Shankchur at once left all the gopis. He started running to save his life from the brothers. Balrama stood to pacify the gopis while Krishna chased the demigod. He ran and hit Shankchur hard on his head. His head burst open and he died. Krishna took out the precious gem that was fixed on Shankchur's forehead and presented it to Balrama. Krishna and Arishtasur. One day, a cruel demon of Kans named Arishta took the form of a dangerous angry bull and went to Vrindavan. He started roaming on the streets of Vrindavan in anger. He was roaring repeatedly and was greatly damaging the cottages, trees, vehicles, and the other properties of the Gopas. The walls had collapsed due to his violent attacks. The Gopas, the cattle, and all other stray animals were frightened and were running all around to save their lives. Krishna clapped before the angry bull to attract his attention. The bull bowed his head and pointed his horns towards Krishna and started running towards him. Krishna held both of his horns and started pushing him backwards. This way, he moved him to some distance. Then he pushed the bull hard and made him fall on the ground. Krishna started twisting his horns along with his neck as if he had been squeezing some drenched cloth to make it dry. Because of twisting the neck with a great force, the bull died in no time. This way Krishna saved the lives and property of the people of Vrindavan as well as of the cattle and other animals. Krishna kills Keshi. Kans was upset at the death of all his demons. He could not find any means to kill little Krishna. So, at last, he sent his most powerful demon, Keshi, to Vrindavan. Keshi lived in the form of a giant and horrible black horse. He was so powerful and dangerous that even the gods were frightened of him. The giant horse, of the size of a mountain, reached Vrindavan early in the morning. He was running in all parts of Vrindavan with a widely opened mouth and was making fearful noises. Due to his fear, animals started running to save their lives. People shut their doors and windows and hid in their houses. But little Krishna fearlessly moved out of his place and stood before Keshi. He bravely challenged the horrible horse. Accepting his challenge, Keshi ran towards him with his open mouth. As soon as he reached near Krishna, Krishna put his arms into Keshi's widely opened mouth. Just by the touch of Krishna, all of Keshi's teeth broke and fell off. The size of Krishna's arm increased so much in Keshi's mouth that the demon's body tore into pieces. When Keshi was dead, Krishna pulled his arm out of his mouth. Krishna visits Mathura. All of Kansa's fearful demons were now killed by Krishna. So he thought of another plan. He sent Akrur, one of his courtiers, to Vrindavan to invite Nand, Krishna, Balrama and all the other Gopas to Mathura for a Dhanuryagya. Akrur was a big devotee of the Lord. He happily went to Vrindavan to fetch them. He told them about the invitation of Kans. He secretly told Krishna about Kansa's wicked plan to kill him in Mathura. But Krishna accepted the king's invitation. The Gopas started preparing for their journey to Mathura. Carts were decorated, milk, curd, ghee, butter, and many other gifts were loaded onto the carts for the king. Nand and the Gopas sat on the carts and set for Mathura. Krishna and Balrama sat on Akrur's chariot. All the gopis of Vrindavan began weeping as Krishna left for Mathura. They did not want to be separated from Krishna. They could clearly feel that Krishna would never return to Vrindavan. They reached near the chariot to bid a teary goodbye to Krishna and Balrama. Krishna met them dearly and advised them to return to their homes. This way Krishna began his journey towards Mathura to kill cruel Kans. Krishna and Radha. All the gopis in Vrindavan were the dear friends of Krishna. But amongst them, Radha was his favorite. She was the daughter of Vrishabhanu and Kamlavati of Barsana. She loved Krishna deeply and was very devoted to him. Krishna too loved her dearly. He had even tried to convince his parents to allow him to marry Radha. They did not allow him because Krishna was just a child at that time. Radha and Krishna were often found singing and dancing together. All other gopis were jealous of their deep affection for each other. Once, on the festival of Holi, Krishna and his friends went to Barsana to smear color on Radha. But her friends beat them up with lathis and chased them away. This act of beating with lathis became a playful tradition on Holi in Barsana and is still celebrated as Lathimar Holi. When Krishna left for Mathura, Radha was deeply hurt. She earnestly waited for his return for many years. Krishna had told Radha that her name would always be taken before his, and that is why we always say Radha Krishna and never Krishna Radha. Radha's birth is celebrated on Radha Ashtami, 15 days after the birthday of Krishna. Krishna in Mathura. Seated regally on the chariot, Krishna and Balrama entered the gates of Mathura. Nand and other Gopas had already reached Mathura and were waiting for them. The people of Mathura rushed towards the chariot to catch a glimpse of Krishna. They cheered and clapped as Krishna and Balrama smilingly waved at them. Akrur left them in Mathura and went to inform Kans. The brothers then went on a tour of the city where they met several people. They met a washerman and asked him for some clothes. Unfortunately, the washerman was a servant of Kans. He became very angry and rudely said that the clothes were of Kans and could not be given to anyone. He warned the brothers that such impudent behavior could get them into trouble in Kans's city. To teach him a lesson, Krishna lifted him and, with a thrust of his hand, severed his head, killing the washerman. The other washermen saw the power of Krishna. They understood that by killing the washerman, God was trying to pass on the message that one should be generous and that God showers His blessings on those who give generously. Each washerman then gave a garment to Krishna. Krishna and the tailor. Krishna, Balrama, Nand and the Gopas took the clothes given by the washerman. The clothes were not of their proper sizes, but they still wore the ill-fitted garments and went to move around Mathura. On their way, they met a tailor. When the tailor saw the garments did not fit them properly, he at once approached them with scissors, a measuring tape, a needle, and other stitching materials. He offered to stitch their clothes so that they might fit them properly. They agreed, and the tailor did his work in a very short time. Everyone was pleased with his service. They asked for his charges, but the tailor took nothing from them in return for his service. Krishna blessed the tailor and they moved on. Then they met a poor florist on their way. He took them to his house. When Krishna entered his house, the florist said that he was blessed to have him as his guest. He told him that the people of Mathura were fed up with the tortures of Kans. Krishna blessed him and granted him many worldly comforts. He assured him that Mathura would soon get rid of Kans. Krishna kills the elephant. The news of Krishna's visit reached Kans. He immediately ordered his servants to release Kuvalapid, the mad elephant, on the streets so that it might kill the two young brothers. Kuvalapid was safely chained and trying to break free. As the mad Kuvalapid was released, it started to destroy everything in its way. People screamed in fear and ran for their lives. Suddenly, Kuvalapid saw Krishna standing in the middle of the main street. It tore open its shackles and charged towards him. It climbed the stage where Krishna was standing, grabbed him with his trunk, and was about to throw him on the ground when Krishna slipped out of his grip and quickly hid behind its hind legs. Seeing Krishna slip out, it raised its leg to crush him, but it again escaped. Casting a cruel glance at the brothers, it charged towards them with its huge tusks. Krishna and Balrama firmly grabbed each of its tusks and broke them into pieces. As the elephant fell on the ground, the brothers killed him with its own tusks. The people of Mathura were awestruck at Krishna's bravery. They greeted him and shouted their praises aloud. Krishna breaks the bow. Back in the court, Kans was full of anger. He screamed at his ministers that he would leave no stone unturned to see the two brothers dead. After killing Kuvalapid, Krishna and Balrama carried the tusks of the elephant on their shoulders and arrived at the venue where Kansa's Dhanuryagya was to be held. There, an enormous bow was placed on a platform to display Kansa's power. Seeing the bow, Krishna went ahead to pick it up, but he was stopped by the guards. A fight ensued between the guards and the brothers, and the guards were beaten badly. Krishna then climbed on the platform, held the heavy bow in his hand, and bent it without any effort. The bow broke, and a thunderous sound was heard. The sound was so loud that it even reached Kansa's ear miles away in his chamber. The sound was a clear signal to Kans that the eighth child of Devaki had finally arrived and that his end was near. In desperation, Kans even sent an army of soldiers to capture Krishna, but they were again defeated after a fierce battle. With this, Kansa's fear for Krishna grew more intense. Krishna kills Kans. On the advice of his ministers, Kans now sent the invincible warriors Mushtaka and Chanura to kill Krishna. A fierce fight ensued between them, and soon Mushtaka and Chanura were defeated by the two brothers. Meanwhile, back in the palace, Kans was restless. He could no longer contain his impatience and rushed to the arena. But he was shocked to see his best warriors defeated by Krishna and Balrama. The people of Mathura were yelling Krishna's name and shouting his praises aloud. Filled with fear, Kans tried to run away. He ran around the arena, hoping to find a gap where he could escape. But the citizens of Mathura circled the arena, not allowing Kans to escape. Krishna pounced upon Kans and caught hold of him. Kans tried to save himself, but Krishna's hold was like the grip of death. Krishna tightened his hold further. Kans struggled to breathe. He felt his lungs exploding. Krishna finally snapped his head. Kans breathed his last and fell to the ground dead. The skies opened and flowers were showered from the heavens. After a long time, the people of Mathura could smile again. They heaved a collective sigh of joy and relief. Krishna meets his parents. After killing Kans, Krishna and Balrama hurried to the palace and entered the dungeons where Devaki and Vasudeva were imprisoned. They opened the prison gates. Devaki and Vasudeva could not believe their eyes. Their sons were standing before them. They were mad with joy to see them. Devaki embraced Krishna and Balrama and shed happy tears. But they could not believe that Kans was dead. In order to assure his parents, Krishna dragged his dead body just as a lion drags an elephant after killing it. He then rushed to the next cell, where he freed his grandfather Ugrasen. Ugrasen blessed him. He was overwhelmed with joy and lovingly hugged both of his grandsons. He knew that Krishna had the support of the entire population, so he decided that Krishna should become the king of Mathura. When Krishna was asked about this, he replied that Mathura was Ugrasen's kingdom and Kans had been forcibly ruling over the kingdom after arresting Ugrasen. So Ugrasen should rule over Mathura. Thereafter, the sacred thread ceremony of Krishna and Balrama was performed, and it was decided to send them to the ashram of sage Sandipani for their further learning. Uddhava visits Vrindavan. Kans was dead, but Krishna could not return to Vrindavan as he had to protect Mathura from the attacks of Kansa's friends. He realized that the people of Vrindavan would be worried about his well-being. They would be eagerly waiting for the news of his well-being. He wanted to reassure them. So Krishna sent his cousin Uddhava to Vrindavan. On reaching Vrindavan, Uddhava found that there were hardly any people on the streets. He was puzzled. When he reached Nand's house, he saw that Yashoda was weeping in a corner. He asked her the reason. Yashoda told that everyone was missing Krishna dearly and that the joy of life had gone from Vrindavan. Uddhava consoled Yashoda and gave her the joyous news of Kansa's death. He assured her that both Krishna and Balrama were in sound health. The news of Uddhava's visit spread like wildfire. In a while, he was surrounded by all the subjects of Vrindavan. Uddhava answered their queries patiently. People were thrilled to hear the tales of Mathura. But soon it was time to bid goodbye, and Uddhava, after taking the blessings of all elders, sat on his chariot and set back for Mathura. Krishna in the ashram. Krishna was sent to the ashram of sage Sandipani for his studies. In the ashram, he attained formal education. He was also taught a sense of duty, cooperation, and self-restraint. There was a touch of divinity in the ashram. The life of sage Sandipani was a living example of selflessness to the students. Krishna attained all the virtues of perfect youth. Sage Sandipani was not merely a teacher. He was a genuine preceptor who led others by examples. When Krishna's study was over and he was leaving the ashram, he told the sage that he had received a lot from him. So he asked Sage Sandipani for his Guru Dakshina. Sage Sandipani did not ask for anything, but his students asked Krishna to bring back his son who was kidnapped by the demon Panchajanya. Krishna went to fight against Panchajanya. He tried a great deal to persuade him to release his Guru's son, but the demon did not agree. So Krishna killed him, and Datta, the son of sage Sandipani, was freed. Panchajanya's bones were ground into powder, out of which a conch was prepared. Krishna named that conch as Panchajanya. From that day onwards, Krishna always carried the conch with him. Back to Mathura. Krishna left sage Sandipani's ashram and returned to Mathura. The residents of Mathura were anxiously waiting for his return. After returning, he organized public meetings and delivered inspiring speeches to tell the people that they should never bow down to the brutish power and that they were born to achieve something. On the other side, the daughters of Jarasangha, Asti and Prapti had become widows. With the death of Kans, Jarasangha was highly enraged and decided to destroy Krishna. Dethroning and killing Kans by a common citizen like Krishna was not liked by many kings of that time. Hence, they joined hands with Jarasangha in his camp opposite to Krishna's. Jarasangha, king of Magad, invaded Mathura along with other kings. He attacked Mathura 17 times. Each time, under the leadership of Krishna, the people of Mathura bravely repulsed the attack. Krishna had to fight the large majority of people who were materialistic and evil-minded. Due to battles, the civic life of Mathura was disrupted and commerce and trade were ruined. Krishna realized that the kingdom had to face many dangers because of him. In such circumstances, for the good of the people, Krishna left Mathura. Vasudeva supported Krishna's decision. Vishwakarma builds Dwarka. Though Krishna was the king yet, he ruled democratically. He had taught the people to live according to the ideals and impart these teachings to others. He not only taught this but also lived accordingly. So he left Mathura. Thereafter, Krishna crossed Gomantak and went to Saurashtra. He summoned Vishwakarma, the divine architect, to build a city that would be the envy of the civilized world. Vishwakarma wanted some land from the sea, and this was possible only if Varuna, the lord of water, allowed him. Krishna worshipped Varuna, who gave them a piece of land measuring 12 yojanas. 1 yojana equals to 13 kilometers. Vishwakarma then built the magnificent Dwarka, a city in gold, at a distance of 20 miles from Prabhas region. It was a city so golden that it cast its radiance on the ocean for miles around it. Krishna appeared to have settled in Dwarka, but his mind was busy in establishing a kingdom based on the principle of true religion. This was the goal of his life. So he made Dwarka an empire which was based on the principle of true religion called Dharma Rajya in true sense. He came to be known as the ruler of Dwarka or Shri Dwarkadhish. Krishna and Rukmini. Rukmini, an incarnation of Lakshmi, was born to King Bhismaka of the Vidarbha kingdom. She was very pretty as a child and grew up to be a beautiful princess. She was very much impressed by the stories she heard about Krishna. She fell in love with him and wished to marry him. Unfortunately, Rukmini's elder brother Rukmi did not approve of this. He convinced Bhismaka and arranged for Rukmini's marriage to his dear friend Shishupala, the king of Chedi. Rukmini sent a letter to Krishna describing the whole condition. Krishna too loved Rukmini, so he made a plan and kidnapped Rukmini from the Parvati temple on the day of her wedding. When Rukmi heard about this, he angrily rallied his soldiers together and left to fight against Krishna. Rukmi fired one arrow after another but could not hurt Krishna. Krishna then killed Rukmi's horse and destroyed his chariot. Rukmi came crashing to the ground. He tried to attack Krishna but was unsuccessful. Krishna was about to kill him, but Rukmini begged him to spare his life. Krishna loved Rukmini very much, so he spared Rukmi's life. Krishna then returned to Dwarka with Rukmini and married her in a grand ceremony. Pondraka challenges Krishna. Once there ruled a king named Pondraka over the kingdom of Karusa province. He was very vain and thought himself to be the most powerful man in the universe. When he heard the stories of Krishna's bravery, he grew jealous of him. One day, to prove himself superior to Krishna, Pondraka sent a letter to him in Dwarka through his messenger. The messenger read out, "Krishna, give up your false pretense of being a god, because I am the supreme power. Come and surrender to me, or else I shall kill you." Everyone was surprised to hear this, but Krishna patiently listened and then said to the messenger, "Tell your master that he is a foolish person. He has unknowingly challenged me. I shall destroy him." The messenger returned to Karusa and told Pondraka everything. Being threatened this way, Pondraka attacked Krishna. He was accompanied by his friend who was the king of Kasi. In the battlefield, Krishna said, "You had asked me to give my divine symbols to you, so here it is." Saying so, Krishna threw his divine weapon, the Sudarshan Chakra, towards Pondraka. It cut off his head and killed him. Krishna and Sudama. Sudama and Krishna were childhood friends. They were classmates at the ashram of sage Sandipani. Sudama belonged to a poor Brahmin family. Years passed and Krishna became the king of Dwarka. But Sudama and his family remained poor. Sudama's wife was a pious soul. One day she advised him to seek his friend Krishna's help. Sudama was an honest person and felt ashamed to ask for help. He was not interested in wealth, but wanted to see Krishna. On his wife's insistence, he agreed to go. But he did not want to go empty-handed to meet Krishna after so long. So he carried a handful of puffed rice as a gift. Krishna greeted Sudama warmly when he arrived at the palace. Seeing the splendor of Dwarka, he was feeling embarrassed at his gift. Krishna saw a small bag in Sudama's hand. He at once snatched it and found puffed rice inside it. He happily accepted the gift. When Sudama returned home the next day, he saw a huge mansion instead of his hut and his family wearing new clothes. He went inside and found lots of food. At once he knew that God had showered his blessings on him. Draupadi's Swayamvar. Draupadi was the daughter of Drupad, the king of Panchal. The king arranged a Swayamvar for Draupadi in the court of Panchal. A pole was erected in the court over which a wooden fish was fixed on a revolving wheel. A pan of water was kept at the bottom of the pole. Anyone who could shoot an arrow at the eye of the revolving fish while looking at its reflection in the water would be married to Draupadi. The princes from all over the world assembled for the Swayamvar. The Pandavas, Duryodhana, Karna and Krishna were also present. Many brave princes tried but failed to perform the difficult task. Suddenly Arjuna rose and easily shot at the fish's eye. Draupadi was happy and put the wedding garland around Arjuna's neck. On reaching home, Arjuna called out to Kunti and told that he had brought something. Kunti from inside the house asked him to share it among the 5 brothers, thinking that he had brought something. As a custom, the Pandavas had to obey every word of Kunti. Draupadi had to become the wife of all 5 brothers. The wedding between the Pandavas and Draupadi was performed with great splendor. Krishna and the Pandavas. Krishna met the Pandavas for the first time during Draupadi's Swayamvar. Krishna was an uninvited guest at the Swayamvar. He silently witnessed the whole Swayamvar ceremony. When the Pandavas returned home with Draupadi after Arjuna had won the challenge of the Swayamvar, Krishna followed them with all his retinue. He also took lots of presents for the Pandavas like elephants, gold, silver and precious gems. He told them that he had recognized at the Swayamvar that the brothers were not the Brahmins but the Pandavas. He even sorted out the tension of Draupadi being married to each of the Pandavas by revealing the reason for this. He offered the gifts to Yudhishthira and returned to Dwarka. The next important association of Krishna with the Pandavas was when Dhritarashtra grudgingly granted a piece of land to the Pandavas for their residence, a rocky stony land called Kandhavaprastha, which was later called Indraprastha. Again Krishna came and assisted the Pandavas in making the land fertile and beautiful with the help of angelic associates such as Maya Danava, who built a great, unsurpassed, glittering palace for the Pandavas. Krishna and Arjuna became close friends. Krishna then went back to Dwarka once again. Krishna battles with Arjuna. Once Gayan, a Gandharv, was driving his flying chariot at a great speed. His chariot passed over the city of Dwarka. Krishna was going towards his palace at that time, so he had to duck in order to avoid getting hit. Krishna shouted at him. He looked down and saw Krishna looking angrily at him. Gayan did not even have the guts to apologize, so he drove off hastily. Krishna was angry that Gayan did not even say sorry. He decided to kill Gayan. Gayan went to Arjuna and asked for his help. Arjuna promised to help him. When Arjuna had promised, Gayan told him the whole story. Arjuna looked angrily at Gayan, but he had made a promise and was bound by it. A long, fierce battle ensued between Arjuna and Krishna. Suddenly, Lord Brahma appeared and asked them to stop the battle. He ordered Arjuna to hand over Gayan to Lord Krishna. He followed the order and Krishna killed Gayan. Brahma brought out the water from his kamandalu and sprinkled it on Gayan. Gayan was alive. He thanked Brahma. Krishna smiled and hugged Arjuna. Krishna had fought this war to prepare Arjuna mentally for the Mahabharata war. Krishna marries 5 queens. One day, Krishna and Arjuna went hunting in a forest. There they saw a beautiful girl, Kalindi, who was River Yamuna personified. She told that she wished to marry Krishna. Krishna accepted her proposal and brought her to Dwarka. There he married her with great pomp. The kings of Avantipura, named Vindhya and Anuvindhya, had a sister, Mitravinda. She was an elegant girl and had a strong desire to have Krishna as her husband. Knowing this, Krishna carried away Mitravinda from her Swayamvar ceremony and married her. After this, Krishna married Satya, the daughter of King Nagnajit of Kosala, by overcoming the challenge of defeating the 7 very strong bulls maintained by King Nagnajit. Krishna then married Bhadra, who was the princess of Kekai province and daughter of Krishna's aunt Srutakirti. Bhadra's brothers offered her in marriage to him. After this, Krishna married Laxmana, the daughter of King of Madras province, by kidnapping her. He had many other thousands of wives. The other thousands of wives were accepted by Krishna after killing one demon named Bhauma. These thousands of girls were held captive in the palace of Bhaumasur. Krishna released them and married them. The churning of ocean. A long time ago, Indra, the chief of gods, was riding on his elephant. Sage Durvasa saw him and offered him a garland. He accepted the garland happily and placed it on his elephant's trunk. The elephant got irritated by its scent and threw it on the ground. Seeing this, Sage Durvasa cursed Indra and all gods to forget their divine powers. The gods went to Lord Vishnu for help. He advised them to churn the ocean. This was a typical process, supposed to be done by both the gods and the demons. So they came together and decided to share the blessings that would emerge from the ocean. During the churning process, many things emerged and were shared by the gods and the demons. But Amrit, the nectar of immortality, created conflict between them. Just then, Lord Vishnu transformed into a beautiful lady named Mohini and suggested to distribute Amrit between the gods and the demons. Mohini cleverly distributed the Amrit only among the gods, and nothing was left for the demons. Now the gods had become immortal by the effect of nectar. Even till today, none of the gods has died, and they are still living in heaven. Krishna and the Parijat tree. During the process of the churning of the ocean, the gods received Parijat, the tree, with divine fragrance. This tree was planted in Indra's garden. One day, Sage Narad went to this garden and collected some flowers that had fallen from the tree and gave them to Rukmini, Krishna's wife. Rukmini was very happy. But when another wife of Krishna, Satyabhama, smelled its fragrance, she asked Krishna to bring her the tree. To please her wife, Krishna went to the abode of Indra. Indra did not allow Krishna to take the Parijat tree with him. He asked Krishna to battle with him in order to win the Parijat tree. Soon a fight ensued between Krishna and Indra. Indra started firing thunderbolts towards Krishna, though he could not injure Krishna. But Krishna did not use his Sudarshan Chakra over Indra. Impressed with Krishna, Indra permitted him to take the Parija tree to Dwarka. Taking the tree, Krishna brought it on earth. But a quarrel started between Rukmini and Satyabhama as both of them wanted the tree. Krishna planted the tree in Satyabhama's courtyard in such a way that its flowers fell down in Rukmini's house, and in this way both his wives were happy and satisfied. Bhagavad Gita. During Kurukshetra war, as the armies of the Pandavas and the Kauravas stood face to face on the battlefield, Arjuna suddenly looked at the opponents and realized that he was fighting against the people whom he loved and respected the most, namely Bhishma, Dronacharya and Kripacharya. Even if he won, his victory would be futile. With these doubts in mind, he put his bow and arrows down. Krishna was not only Arjuna's charioteer but also his guide, understood what Arjuna was going through. Responding to Arjuna's confusion and moral dilemma, Krishna explained to Arjuna his duties as a Kshatriya, warrior, and a prince. He delivered a sermon on karma and told Arjuna that his soul is immortal and it never dies. Krishna explained the concepts of duty and righteousness to Arjuna. He also told Arjuna that the one who dies fighting loses his temporary body, but his soul finds a seat in heaven. And the same will occur to the souls of the people who die in Kurukshetra war. Krishna told that it was Arjuna's duty to fight. This sermon became renowned as the Bhagavad Gita. Hearing this, Arjuna's doubts were removed and he was ready for the battle. Krishna's true devotees. One day sage Narad asked Krishna why he had so much attraction for the gopis when he had so many queens to look after him and care for him. Krishna told him that it was so because the gopis were the true devotees of him. Narad could still not understand this. Seeing the puzzled face of Narad and to prove the love of his devotees, Krishna pretended that he had a headache. He told Narad that he would recover only if a devotee smeared the dust from his or her feet on Krishna's forehead. Surprised at the remedy, Narad went to Krishna's queens for help. The queens trembled on hearing such a treatment because they felt that the Lord would curse them for this disrespectful act. Narad then found no other solution, so he went to the gopis and explained the purpose of his visit. He told them that Krishna's headache could be cured only with the dust from the feet of a true devotee. The gopis immediately collected some dust from their feet and gave it to Narad. Narad understood that the gopis loved Krishna blindly, so much that they could even risk being cursed for such a sinful act to save Krishna. Krishna departs. After the Mahabharata war had ended and Yudhishthir was crowned the new and rightful king of Hastinapur, there were celebrations all over. Krishna bade farewell to the Pandavas and returned to Dwarka. He ruled over Dwarka for 36 years. Then suddenly madness seized the residents of Dwarka and they started killing one another. Only women, children, Balrama and Krishna were left alive. Krishna sent the women and the children to the city of Kuru and they left with the Pandavas. After this, Balrama and Krishna desolated themselves into dense forests. One day, Krishna was sleeping under a tree in the forest. Sometime later, a hunter named Jara passed through the forest. Krishna was wearing yellow clothes and the soles of his feet were shining very brightly. The hunter mistook them to be the eyes of a deer. He aimed and shot a poisonous arrow, which pierced one of Krishna's feet. As soon as Jara realized what had happened, he rushed to Krishna and apologized, but it was too late. Krishna assured Jara that this was destiny. Then Vishnu's chariot descended from the sky, and Krishna sat in it and went to heaven. This way Krishna departed from the earth. Valmiki. One day, a robber told his family that he brought money by robbing people. His family got furious and threw him out of the house. On Sage Narad's advice, the robber prayed for many years, and the Lord gave him a new name, Valmiki. On morning, he set out for his bath on the banks of a river. There, he saw a couple of cranes. Just then, a hunter shot the male crane with his arrow. Seeing the wounded creature and hearing the piteous cry of its mate, Valmiki was swept away by a flood of emotions. He was filled with rage at the hunter and grief for the crane couple. He inflicted a musical curse upon the hunter to die soon. Returning to his ashram, Valmiki was visited by Lord Brahma, for whom he once more sang his curse. Lord Brahma told him that it was through his divine inspiration that Valmiki had been able to create the poetry. The god then commissioned the sage to compose a great epic poem to celebrate and popularize the history of Rama and his long-suffering wife Sita. Valmiki wrote this epic that became famous by the name of Ramayana. Manu and Shatrupa. Once, King Manu and his wife Shatrupa became frustrated with worldly matters and went to Naimisaranya to stay in a hermitage. In their hermitage, the couple led a very strict life, each standing on one leg and inhaling no air. They remained in this state of meditation for 10,000 years. Their bodies had become simply skeletons. Impressed by their strict penance, God appeared before them and asked them for boons. Hearing the god's voice, they again became healthy and beautiful figures, appearing as fresh as if they had just arrived from the royal palace. Both prayed to get the glimpse of the Lord in the same form as he takes residing in the heart of Shiva. Thus the Lord appeared before them. Both Manu and Shatrupa were content to have the beautiful form of the Lord, and they lost their own bodily sense. Lying prostrate at the feet of the Lord, Manu prayed to get a son like him. This wish was granted as the Lord assured that Manu would become the king of Ayodhya and Shatrupa would become his wife Kaushalya, and Rama would take birth as their son. Shravan Kumar, the devoted son. Once there lived a blind couple who had a son named Shravan Kumar. Shravan carefully looked after his parents. One day, his parents wished to go on a pilgrimage. Shravan took a bamboo pole with a basket at either end. He placed his parents in 2 baskets and carried the basket on the shoulder. While on pilgrimage, they reached a forest near Ayodhya. Dashrath, the king of Ayodhya, had also come to the forest to hunt. Shravan's parents requested Shravan to get water in order to quench their thirst. Shravan went to the banks of river Sarayu. When he dipped the vessel to fill water, Dashrath thought it was the sound of a deer drinking water. He shot an arrow in the direction and heard a moaning cry. On hearing the sound, he came to the place and saw injured Shravan crying in pain. Dashrath became very sad. Shravan asked him to take the water to his parents and tell him the sad news. Dashrath sadly gave water to Shravan's parents and told them the whole story. Shravan's parents were in utter grief and cursed Dashrath that he would die one day in the grief of his loving son. Due to this, Dashrath died in the grief of Rama when the latter was sent to exile. Birth of Lord Rama. Once in Ayodhya, there lived a king named Dashrath. He was a great devotee. He had 3 wives, Kaushalya, Kekai and Sumitra. But he did not have any child. So he went to sage Vasishtha. The sage suggested him to do a Putreshti Yagya. During the Yagya, Lord Agni appeared before Dashrath. He gave a bowl of payasam to the king to be fed by his 3 queens. The king gave half payasam to Kaushalya and half to Kekai. The 2 wives divided their share into half and each gave its half portion to Sumitra. Some days later, the 3 queens were pregnant. On the 9th day of Chaitra month, the first son was born to Kaushalya during afternoon. This son was an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. The whole Ayodhya, the king, the queens and the maids were very happy. The gods started showering flowers from the heavens to express their joy at the birth of the Lord. Then Kekai also gave birth to a son, while Sumitra gave birth to 2 sons at the same time. Ayodhya was decorated in happiness. Everyone in Ayodhya and the gods in the heavens blessed the 4 sons of Dashrath. This way the 4 princes of Ayodhya were born. Princes get their names. King Dashrath was very happy at the birth of his sons. In his happiness, the king distributed desired gifts among the people of Ayodhya and to those who came to him to ask for something. The king and the queens were enjoying the best part of their life with the princes. Many days passed like this, and now the time had arrived for the princes to receive their names. Dashrath called sage Vasishtha to his palace. When the sage arrived, the king greeted him warmly and welcomed him to the palace. Dashrath then asked him to name his 4 sons according to the sage's desire. The sage thought over the matter and then suggested that the eldest son of the king, born to his queen Kaushalya, should be named Rama. The son born to the king's dearest queen Kekai should be named Bharata. The youngest queen Sumitra had 2 sons, out of which the elder one should be called Lakshman, while the youngest of all the princes should be called Shatrughan. Then the sage blessed the 4 princes and left the palace. This way, the 4 princes of Ayodhya began to be called by the names given by sage Vasishtha. Rama eats prasad. One day, when Lord Rama was a baby, Mother Kaushalya bathed him, dressed him in a beautiful dress and ornaments. After this, she made Rama lie in the cradle. Then she took a bath herself and went to worship the Lord. After the worship, she offered prasad to the Lord. When she was done with the offerings, she went to the palace kitchen to do some of her routine work. After completing her work, she again went back to the place where she was worshipping the Lord. There, she saw that her son Rama was eating the prasad that she had offered to the Lord. Kaushalya was surprised as she had put Rama in the cradle. When she went near the cradle, she was even more surprised as Rama was still lying in the cradle. Then again she went back to the place of worship and saw Rama eating prasad there. Kaushalya was very much troubled and could not believe her eyes. Shy Rama understood the confusion of her mother and smiled. Seeing the innocent smile of her son, Kaushalya forgot about the surprising sight and was filled with affection for her baby. She carried him in her arms and fed milk to him. Rama's childhood. Lord Rama was being brought up in the palace of Dashrath along with Bharat, Shatrughan, and Lakshman. He played many different games in the palace with Bharat, Shatrughan, Lakshman, and other friends. One day, Dashrath called Rama to eat food while Rama was playing. But Rama did not leave his friends, although he heard his father's call. When Mother Kaushalya called him, he ran away to escape. Kaushalya also ran after Rama to catch him. She forcefully carried naughty Rama in her arms to feed him. Rama's body was all covered in dust as he played in the mud. Dashrath laughed at this lovely sight and made Rama sit on his lap. He began to feed him. While eating food, Rama ran away laughing whenever he got a chance. This way Rama entertained Ayodhya with his naughtiness. Since childhood, Lakshman had considered his elder brother Rama as his ultimate well-wisher and started leading his life in Rama's service, while Shatrughan started to lead his life in serving Bharat. This way, both the sons of Mother Sumitra were put in the service of their elder brothers. Mothers loved the sight of such pairs of their dear sons. Rama and his learning. When Rama and his brothers had grown enough, King Dashrath called sage Vashishta. The sacred thread ceremony of all the 4 princes was performed by the sage. Then Rama and his 3 brothers were sent with sage Vashishta for teaching. In very little time, the princes were perfected in education, courtesy, goodness, and morality. Carrying their bows and arrows in their hands, the princes looked like completely skilled archers. Rama always woke up early in the morning and greeted his parents and teachers. Then, taking their permission, he performed the routine work of the kingdom. Seeing the true devotion of his son, the king felt great happiness and satisfaction. Rama and his 3 brothers became famous throughout the 3 worlds and wiped out the fears of their devotees. All these habits and characteristics could be cultivated in the princes due to the significant role played by sage Vashishta in their teaching. According to the sage, the habit of laziness is actually a disease that is responsible to bring unhappiness in man's life. This is exactly what he taught to his students. Rama and the nose ring. One day, Rama and Lakshman saw a girl walking with a huge nose ring. The brothers thought of a mischief. Lakshman shot an arrow. While the girl was walking, the arrow came next to her nose and started pouring some mystical substance on the nose ring, which became so small that it got stuck on her nose. She could only breathe through one nostril and was very confused. Rama then shot another arrow that made it big enough that she could breathe through both the nostrils. She turned around and asked what they were doing with her. Lakshman replied, "We made your nose ring small, but it was too small, so we made it big." She said that she did not believe it. Lakshman said, "Oh, you don't believe it, so we will take it off." Lakshman then shot another arrow which took the nose ring out of her nose, and all this was happening without touching her face. And then the nose ring was flying in the sky, and the girl began to cry out, "My nose ring!" Very quickly Rama fired another arrow and put the nose ring back in the nose. Such were the childhood pastimes of Rama. Rama as a hunter. During those days, hunting was a great passion for all the Kshatriyas. So Rama as a prince loved hunting too. He took Bharat, Shatrughan, Lakshman and other close friends with him and regularly went hunting in the forests of Ayodhya. Whenever they went on such a hunting expedition, Rama travelled on horseback. and his dearest brothers and friends moved behind him, carrying bows and arrows with the purpose of protecting him against any harm. In his heart, Rama considered hunting as a sacred deed and thus killed many deer. The souls of the deer, which were killed by the arrows of Lord Rama, directly attained salvation and reached heaven. He then carried the dead animals to his palace and showed them to his father. Dashrath's heart would get filled with joy and pride on seeing the great expertise of his dear son. Rama did all such acts to entertain his brothers and friends. He did exactly what the people of Ayodhya, as true devotees, desired him to do. The whole kingdom loved him dearly. He regularly read the Vedas and the scriptures and taught his teaching that he obtained to his younger brothers. Sage Vishwamitra asked for Rama and Lakshman. Sage Vishwamitra lived in Dandaka forest. He regularly performed prayers, yajnas, and yoga with many other sages. But the sages had a great fear of demons, who always disturbed them and created a great nuisance. Sage Vishwamitra had realized that the demons could not be killed without the Lord's support. Fed up with the demons, one day Sage Vishwamitra went to Ayodhya to meet King Dashrath. He told his problem to the king and asked him to send his brave sons Rama and Lakshman to fight against the demons and enable the sages to perform their rituals. King Dashrath could not bear the pain of separation from his dear sons. Besides this, he was frightened too at the thought of sending his little sons to fight against the dangerous and cruel demons. But him advised him to quit his excessive affection for his sons and hand over the young sons to Sage Vishwamitra. Dashrath agreed to send his sons with the sage Vishwamitra. Rama and Lakshman took the blessings of their parents and teacher and left with the sage Vishwamitra for Dandaka forest. Sage Vishwamitra felt honored that the brothers had even left their family for the sake of his protection. Taraka is slain. Taraka was the beautiful daughter of a demigod named Suketu. She was married to Sumali, a demon king. She had two sons named Marich and Subahu and a daughter named Keksi. Due to sage Agastya's curse, she was turned into an ugly man-eater demoness. As a revenge, Taraka, along with her sons, had started harassing and troubling as many sages as she could by destroying their yajnas and prayers with a shower of flesh and blood. When Rama, Lakshman and sage Vishwamitra had reached Dandaka forest, the sage showed the brothers demoness Taraka. He instructed Prince Rama to kill her. Lord Rama was hesitant to kill her as she was a woman. Sage Vishwamitra advised Rama that as a prince he had to carry out his duties for the welfare and protection of the nation. He also told Rama that evil has no gender, caste or creed. Though a woman, yet Taraka was terrorizing the residents of the region. Hearing this, Rama was convinced and swiftly pierced her heart with his arrows. This act gained the young princess the blessings of not only just sage Vishwamitra but also the blessings of all the assembled sages in the forest. Marich and Subahu. After killing Taraka, sage Vishwamitra taught a unique skill to the princes that would enable them not to feel hunger and thirst in the forest for a long time. Thus, 5 days passed peacefully. But on the morning of the 6th day, while the sages were performing their yajna and Rama and Lakshman were guarding them, a thunderous roar was heard. All looked up to see an approaching army of demons clouding the skies. They were Marich and Subahu with the other demons who had come to take the revenge of their mother's death. Rama at once released an arrow that struck Marich, who fell 800 miles away, even beyond the seashore. Next, the prince battled with Subahu with an arrow, whom he killed immediately. The two brothers then easily defeated the rest of the army. All the sages got rid of their fear after Rama had killed the demons. Then the whole contingent of sages sang the praises of the brothers. In their devotion, the sages narrated the stories from the Puranas to the two brothers, not comprehending that Rama himself was the fountain of all knowledge. The accursed Ahilya. After the death of the demons, sage Vishwamitra told Rama about a Dhanuryagya that was going to be held in Mithila for the Swayamvar of Princess Sita. Hearing this, Rama and Lakshman started their journey towards Mithila, accompanying sage Vishwamitra. On their way, they saw a deserted hut. The hut belonged to sage Gautama and his wife Ahilya, who was a very pious woman. Indra, in absence of sage Gautama, disguised himself as Gautama and spent a night with Ahilya. When Gautama came to learn of this sinful deed, he cursed Ahilya to turn into a stone. Vishwamitra knew that Rama could relieve Ahilya of the curse, so he begged Rama to do so. As Rama entered the ashram, his feet touched the stone and it was transformed into a beautiful lady. Ahilya had come back to her own original form. In a moment, the ashram too came alive with colorful flowers, green trees, and the twittering of birds. Ahilya thanked Rama and Lakshman and offered them her warm hospitality. Meanwhile, sage Gautama also forgave Ahilya and returned to live with her in the ashram. He then blessed the two brothers and thanked sage Vishwamitra for his sound advice. Sita's birth. Once there lived a king named Janak in Mithila. He was a great ruler and his kingdom was very happy under his rule. But the king did not have any child. One day, Janak was standing in his fields and watching the farmers plowing the fields. The earth was also being dug to sow new seeds. Suddenly, a farmer's tool struck something hard in the ground. He informed Janak about this. The king at once ordered all the farmers to dig the same spot. After digging, the farmers found a big treasure pot and handed it to King Janak. When the pot was opened, the king was overjoyed to see a small baby girl inside it. Everyone was amazed at how the girl could survive in the pot and who could have put her there. King Janak adopted her as a daughter and named her Sita, who grew up into a beautiful princess and came to be known by different names like Janki, the daughter of Janak. She was also famous by the name of Maithili, the princess of Mithila. As she was obtained from the inside of the earth, many people called her the daughter of the Mother Earth. Rama in Mithila. Traveling a long distance and crossing river Ganga, Rama, Lakshman and sage Vishwamitra reached Mithila. The princes were mesmerized to see the beauty of the kingdom. There were many beautiful wells, lakes, ponds and rivers. The birds were chirping in melodious voices. They stayed there with some other sages in a beautiful mango orchard. When King Janak heard that sage had arrived in Mithila, he took many of his ministers and sages and went to meet Vishwamitra. He greeted the sage and saw the charming princes. The sage Vishwamitra told that they were the princes of Ayodhya. Janak was pleased that the princes had arrived at his kingdom. Janak arranged a palace for them all and then left for his own palace. Then, Taking permission from sage Vishwamitra, the two brothers went on a stroll around Mithila. Many kids from Mithila also accompanied them on their way. The residents of Mithila rushed to see the beauty of the two princes. On seeing Prince Rama, the girls of Mithila wished that King Janak would choose Rama as a suitor for his daughter Sita, so that the girls might get a chance in future to see the two princes again. Rama saw Sita in Mithila. Rama and Lakshman woke up early in the morning. They took their bath and greeted their guru, sage Vishwamitra. Then, taking his permission, the brothers set out to fetch flowers for worship. They reached the garden of King Janak. It was a beautiful garden with a variety of trees, vines, and flowers. Seeking the help of the gardener, they began to pick flowers. Just then, Princess Sita arrived there. Her mother had sent her to worship goddess Parvati. She was accompanied by her friends who were singing in a melodious voice. Rama saw the beautiful princess dressed in a traditional attire and laden with all sorts of ornaments. He was mesmerized by her beauty and fell in love with her. When Sita saw the two beautiful princes, her heart was filled with joy. She too fell in love with Rama. But she realized that she was getting late, so she soon returned to her palace. After picking enough flowers for their worship, Rama and Lakshman admired the beauty of Princess Sita and returned to sage Vishwamitra. Rama was very innocent and never had any secret from anyone, so he narrated the whole incident to the sage Vishwamitra. Sita's Swayamvar. Finally, the day of Sita's Swayamvar had arrived. Princes Rama and Lakshman visited Janak's palace along with sage Vishwamitra. Many kings and princes from far and wide came to attend the Swayamvar of the princess. King Janak called his minstrels and asked them to announce the condition of the Swayamvar. The minstrels then announced loudly that the king had a very large and heavy bow gifted to him by Lord Shiva. Whoever could lift the bow and string it would marry Sita. The kings and the princes came one by one in turns and tried to lift the bow, but none could successfully do so. Janak was disappointed seeing all this. Just then, Rama got his turn. He tried his strength and picked the bow up. While he was trying to string Shiva's bow, it accidentally broke with a thunderous sound. Everyone was surprised at Rama's great strength and courage. Janak had found a perfect suitor for Sita. Princess Sita reached near Prince Rama and put the wedding garland around his neck. Seeing this sight, the gods started showering flowers from the heaven. The whole kingdom was filled with joy. Queen Sunaina's joy knew no bounds, and tears of happiness rolled down her cheeks. Parshuram and Shiva's bow. When Parshuram, a devotee of Lord Shiva, heard that Shiva's bow had been broken, he immediately reached King Janak's palace where Sita's Swayamvar was being organized. He angrily inquired about the person who was responsible for breaking the bow. He took out his dangerous axe to kill the man who had broken the bow. Prince Lakshman told Parshuram that he should not blame anyone for that because it was a very old bow and thus it broke as soon as his brother touched it. He further added that the princes had broken many such bows during their childhood and he could not understand why Parshuram was so conscious about that particular bow. Lakshman's words enraged Parshuram even more. He informed Lakshman that it was no ordinary bow but a very famous bow of Lord Shiva. But Parshuram still could not believe that a mere prince could break such a heavy bow. To clarify his doubt, he took another special bow of Lord Vishnu and asked Rama to string it. But the bow itself moved from his hands to Rama's hands. Parshuram was greatly surprised at this. His doubt had vanished and he apologized to Lord Rama for his mistake. The three sisters of Sita. A message was sent to King Dashrath by King Janak informing him that his son had fulfilled the condition of Sita's Swayamvar. He had invited Dashrath to Mithila to carry out the marriage ceremony of his son Rama and Janak's daughter Sita. Everyone in Ayodhya, including the king, the queens, and the whole kingdom, was filled with joy. Soon, Dashrath, Bharat, and Shatrughan, along with other important people and sages of Ayodhya, left for Mithila. Janak had made great arrangements in their honor. King Dashrath performed the marriage ceremony of his son with the daughter of King Janak with traditional rituals. The couple took the blessings of Dashrath, Janak, and all the elders and the sages present there. Janak then called the three sisters of Sita. He sought the permission of Dashrath and married them with the three remaining sons of the king. Mandavi was married to Bharat, Urmila was married to Lakshman, and Shrutkirti was married to Shatrughan. After the celebrations were over, King Dashrath returned to Ayodhya with his 4 sons and 4 daughters-in-law. The residents of Ayodhya welcomed them warmly. Kaushalya, Kekai, and Sumitra were happy to see their dear sons and their wives. Rama as the king. Some months after the marriage of his sons, Dashrath was sitting in his palace. He looked in the mirror that some of his hair had turned grey. He realized that he was getting old. So he thought of putting his son Rama on the throne and making him the new king of Ayodhya. Keeping the mirror aside, he went to sage Vasishtha to discuss about his thought. He told that Rama had achieved all the qualities of a true king and was dear to everyone in the kingdom. He expressed his desire to see Rama as the new king of Ayodhya. Sage Vasishtha approved of his thought and suggested a good day and time for the coronation of Rama. Dashrath returned to his palace and started the preparations for the coronation ceremony. All the required materials were collected for the ceremony. Special arrangements were made in the city for the worship of Lord Ganesha and many other gods. The whole city of Ayodhya was beautifully decorated. All the residents were filled with joy, and the kingdom was absorbed in celebrations. Sage Vasishtha arrived at the palace and delivered the knowledge of a true king to Rama. He then went to Dashrath for further preparations. The two boons. Once there was a fierce battle between the gods and the demons in the forest of Dandaka. Indra sought King Dashrath's help to fight the demons. Dashrath went to the forest accompanied by his queen Kekai. King Dashrath was fighting against the great demon Shambhara. But suddenly Dashrath fell down to the ground and lost consciousness. Kekai quickly put her husband back on the chariot and drove the chariot away from the battlefield. Thus, she managed to save the life of her husband. The king was very pleased and grateful to Kekai. After this incident, Kekai became the dearest for the king Dashrath amongst all his queens. He happily granted her two boons. She could ask for anything in her two boons. Dashrath promised to fulfill her desire. As Kekai was the dearest queen of Dashrath, he did not show any carelessness in taking good care of her and fulfilling all her desires. Due to this, Kekai had forgotten about her two boons as she never felt the need to ask for anything. Many years after the incident, Manthara, a wicked maid of Kekai, reminded her about the two boons. Manthara and Kekai's anger. When Kekai's maid, Manthara, heard about Rama's coronation, she was filled with anger. She went to Kekai and told that the decision was unjust, as Bharat was more deserving to become Ayodhya's king. Kekai said that she was happy because she loved Rama dearly. Manthara retorted that when Rama would become the king, Kekai and her son would become paupers. She tried to poison Kekai's ears against Rama. Kekai was greatly carried away by Manthara's words. She became enraged too, but could not think of a way to stop Rama's coronation. Manthara now reminded Kekai of her 2 boons that Dashrath had granted her. Kekai soon got dressed in old, tattered clothes and removed all her ornaments. She angrily went to a dark, isolated chamber in her palace. Hearing about this, Dashrath immediately went to meet Kekai and asked the reason of her anger. Kekai told that she wanted to reclaim her 2 boons. She asked Dashrath to crown Bharat as the new king and send Rama into exile for 14 years. Dashrath became worried. He tried to convince Kekai, but she was firm. Due to this, Dashrath went in a deep state of shock. Rama's exile. When Rama heard about Queen Kekai's desires, he gladly accepted the news of his banishment. He tried to convince his father that it was a great honor for him to be sent to the forest because there he would meet many different sages and learn the meaning of sadness and happiness. He then took the blessings of Dashrath and Mother Kekai and went to meet his mother Kaushalya. Hearing about Kekai's boons, Kaushalya cried out loud, "How can you bear the hardship of living in a forest for 14 long years?" Rama smiled and assured her that 14 years would pass very quickly. As Rama began preparing for his departure, his wife Sita came to him. She begged Rama to take her with him, but he refused. Sita replied, "My lord, not being with you for 14 years will be greater hardship. My duty is to be by your side always." Just like Sita, Lakshman too decided to follow in the footsteps of his brother. "How can I leave my dear brother to face the dangers all by himself?" he argued. Seeing Sita and Lakshman's determination, Rama had no choice but to agree to their wish. Rama and the Ferryman. Moving from Ayodhya, Rama, Sita and Lakshman reached the banks of river Ganga. There they saw a ferryman and asked him to row them across the river. But the ferryman refused to offer his boat, saying that due to the touch of Rama's feet, a rock was changed into a lady, Ahilya. He told that he feared that due to Rama's touch, his boat would change to another woman, and thus his only source of earning would be lost. He suggested to wash their feet before allowing them to enter his boat. Rama smilingly agreed to this. After washing their feet, the ferryman collected the water drained from their feet. He drank some of this water and gave the remaining water to the members of his family to drink. He then rowed them across the river. Sita offered a gold ring to the ferryman as his fees, but he refused to take it, saying that he did all that because he had identified the Lord. He said that he was blessed to serve the Almighty. He also told that he had attained salvation as he was able to drink the water that touched the feet of Rama, Sita and Lakshman. Rama in Valmiki's ashram. Crossing the Ganga, they went to Prayag and met sage Bharadwaj, who welcomed them warmly. Staying there for a day, they moved forward. They met many people on their way. Everyone was pleased to see them. They reached the ashram of sage Valmiki, the creator of epic Ramayana. The ashram was located at a beautiful place, surrounded by mountains, forests, and waterfalls. There were many birds and animals around the ashram. Valmiki welcomed them in the ashram and greeted them. He said that he was blessed that the Lord, along with his wife, had arrived at his ashram. He offered them many fruits, tubers, sprouts, and roots. They ate the food and took a rest for some time. Rama asked the sage Valmiki about a nice place in the forest where he could live with Sita and Lakshman in a cottage made of grass and leaves. Valmiki suggested him to go to Chitrakoot mountain where Rama could live peacefully. The mountain was inhabited by many great sages like sage Atri. The sacred river Mandakini flowed there. It was a beautiful mountain with a big variety of flora and fauna. So Rama, Sita and Lakshman started their journey towards Chitrakoot mountain. Rama in Chitrakoot. On reaching Chitrakoot, Rama, Sita and Lakshman took a sacred bath in river Mandakini. They liked the area around the river and decided to stay there. Hearing this, the gods took the form of tribal forest men and went to Rama accompanied by the divine architect Vishwakarma. They built 2 beautiful cottages for them using grass and leaves and returned to heaven. Many great sages visited them and spent some time with the Lord and returned. The tribal forest men carried many fruits, roots, tubers, and sprouts and went to offer them to the Lord. Everyone was glad to have the sight of Lord Rama and goddess Sita and also Lakshman, the incarnation of Lord Sheshnag. Chitrakoot had become even more beautiful due to the arrival of Lord Rama. A pleasant breeze blew and many birds sang melodiously. All the animals had started living in harmony with one another. Lakshman was fully devoted to Rama and Sita's service, so he never missed his family. Sita was also happy with her husband and had forgotten all the pleasures of Ayodhya. But Rama missed his family and kingdom a lot. This way, Rama, Sita and Lakshman were leading their life on Chitrakoot mountain. Death of King Dashrath. After Rama, Sita and Lakshman had left for the forest, King Dashrath went in a deep state of shock. He did not speak to anyone and just lay quietly on his bed, gasping his last breath. Often he cried out the names of his dear sons Rama and Lakshman and his daughter-in-law Sita. The king had realized that the curse of the blind parents of Shravan Kumar was coming true. He was unable to bear the pain of separation from his dear son Rama and finally died. Everyone in the kingdom and the palace mourned the death of King Dashrath. Bharat and Shatrughan were called in from their maternal uncle's house. Kekai welcomed the princes happily and told the whole story of Rama's exile and Dashrath's death. Bharat became very upset and angry. Shatrughan was angry too and he hit Manthara, the wicked maid. She was injured and fell down on the floor. The princes then met Queen Kaushalya and tried to console her. Bharat was feeling himself guilty for the injustice done to Rama and for the death of his father. On the advice of sage Vashishta, Bharat performed all the rituals of the funeral of his father. Bharat visits Rama in forest. After the death of Dashrath, sage Vashishta, Kaushalya and all the ministers asked Bharat to abide by the promise of his father and become the new king of Ayodhya. But Bharat denied. He suggested to go to the forest and meet Rama, Sita and Lakshman. Everyone was impressed by this idea and started making preparations to go to the forest. Next morning, Bharat and Shatrughan, along with Sage Vashishta, many other Brahmins and residents of Ayodhya, and all queens started their journey towards Chitrakoot. They finally reached the ashram where Rama, Sita, and Lakshman were living in the forest. Everyone was happy to see them. Rama became sad on hearing the news of his father's death. Kekai was regretful for her misdeed. Everyone stayed in the forest for a few days. Then Rama told Bharat that they should follow the orders of their father. He asked everyone to return to Ayodhya. Bharat took Rama's wooden sandals and everyone returned to Ayodhya. Bharat put Rama's sandals on the throne and began to rule the kingdom. But now he lived in a small hut wearing simple clothes just as his elder brother Rama lived in Chitrakoot. Rama and the Crow. Once Sita and Rama were having their sweet times on Chitrakoot mountain. Rama was making beautiful ornaments for his wife Sita using flowers. Just then, Jayanta, the son of Indra, decided to test the power of Rama. He took the form of a crow and approached Sita repeatedly. But she drove the bird away with a lump of mud. Again, after some time, the crow approached Sita and rashly attacked her, causing an injury on her toe. Out of pain, Sita cried out loudly. Rama was enraged and plucked out a blade of grass and charged it with a mantra. The blade became Brahma missile and chased the crow. The crow roamed all about the regions seeking shelter and protection from Rama's arrow. Everybody, including his father, great seers and others, refused to stand by against Rama's missile. The crow, being disappointed and tired, helplessly sought shelter and protection, falling at the feet of Rama only. Rama pardoned the crow, but its right eye was hit by the missile. Thus Rama spared the crow's life. As a rule, the Lord's missile never turned futile. The crow returned happily to its abode, thanking Rama and his father Dashrath. Rama went to Panchvati. After spending many days on Chitrakoot mountain, Rama, Lakshman and Sita decided to move to some other forest. So they started their journey and went to meet Sage Atri and his wife Anusuya. The couple welcomed their new guests wholeheartedly and offered them many fruits, tubers, roots and sprouts. After spending some time with them, the three of them moved again. Many sages and saints accompanied them. On their way, they encountered many demons, and Rama killed them all in no time. After covering some distance, they saw a huge pile of bones. A sage told Rama that those were the bones of many sages who were killed by demons. Rama was sad to hear this. He promised to kill all the demons and make earth a safe place to live in. Then they met Sage Agastya and his student Sage Sutishna. Sage Agastya suggested them to go to Panchvati in Dandaka forest. Rama, Lakshman and Sita along with the other sages reached Panchvati and met Jatayu, the king of vultures. Rama and Jatayu became very good friends. Rama saw a nice place at the banks of river Godavari and they started living there happily in a cottage made of leaves and grass. Sutishna's Guru Dakshina. Sutishna was a student of Sage Agastya. He was a devoted student and learnt the art of living from Sage Agastya. When he completed his education, he asked Sage Agastya what Guru Dakshina he should offer to him. Sage Agastya asked Sutishna to help him see the Almighty God. Sutishna kept his teacher's desire in his mind and made an ashram for himself in Dandaka forest. He had heard that Rama, the incarnation of Vishnu, would pass through Dandaka forest during his exile. So he waited there, worshipping and singing in praise of God. One day he heard that Rama had arrived in Dandaka. Sutishna was very excited and overjoyed. Rama was smilingly observing him from behind a tree. He was so absorbed in the vision of Vishnu that when Rama approached and called him, he did not hear him at first. Rama was very much pleased at the true devotion of Sutishna. After Sutishna's meditation was over, when he opened his eyes, he found Rama, Sita and Lakshman standing before him. He was overjoyed to see them and fell at their feet. He took them to his teacher Agastya's ashram and fulfilled his promise and his teacher's desire. Demon Virad. As Rama together with Sita and Lakshman and other sages roamed Dandaka forest, they chanced upon a man-eating demon named Virad. The demon saw the two princes and Sita and decided to feast upon them. He lifted Sita first and was about to take her away with him when Rama shot his arrow at him. Virad laughed at the sight of the tiny bow and arrows. He broke them with his fingers. Realizing the futility of using his bow and arrows to fight against Virad, Rama and Lakshman decided to tear off his arms. With great might, they wrenched off Virad's arms and threw him on the ground. Rama immediately stepped his foot on Virad. The touch of his foot had a wondrous effect. Virad's eyes softened, and with both palms joined in reverence, he said, "Your touch has purified my mind. I am a natural spirit and not a demon. Due to a curse, I was changed into a demon. Please kill me and relieve me of the curse." Rama accepted Virad's request and killed him. Virad's demon body changed into a sacred spirit. It greeted Rama, Lakshman and Sita and then returned to heaven. Lakshman punishes Surpnakha. Demon Ravana had a sister named Surpnakha. She was very ugly and wicked. Once she went to Panchvati where Rama was staying with Lakshman and Sita. She was attracted by the beauty and charm of the two princes. She took the form of a beautiful woman. She went to Rama and asked him to marry her. But Rama told that he was already married. He jokingly asked her to go to Lakshman. She approached Lakshman and expressed her desire to marry him. But he too refused her proposal, saying that he was merely a servant of Lord Rama and so he would not be able to give her any pleasures of life. She went to Rama again, but he sent her back to Lakshman. This time Lakshman was irritated by her, so he insulted her and asked her to go away. She became very angry at this and came back to her real horrible form. Sita was frightened to see her. Seeing Sita, Rama secretly gave some instructions to Lakshman. Lakshman at once took a sword and punished Surpnakha by cutting off her nose and ears. Surpnakha was in great pain and ran away from there. Rama and the demon brothers. When Lakshman had harmed Surpnakha, she was in great pain. She rushed to her brothers Khara and Dushana and narrated the whole incident. She asked them to take the revenge of her insult. Seeing Surpnakha's plight, they became very angry. Rama realized the trouble and asked Lakshman to escort Sita to a secure place. He got ready with his bow and arrows. Khara and Dushana arrived with a strong army of elephants, horse-drawn chariots and soldiers. The demons charged from all directions, and Rama hit back with his powerful arrows. But the demons would become alive again and again. All the gods in the heavens became upset to see this. Rama thus performed a magic, and the demons began to see each other as Rama and thus attacked each other. The entire army was destroyed in no time. They all attained salvation and reached heaven as they were screaming, "Kill Rama!" Finally, with one final shot, Rama knocked down Khara, Dushana, and their friend Trisara. The gods rejoiced at the death of the demons. Lakshman and Sita came to Rama. They were happy at the victory of Lord Rama. The Demon King Ravana. Ravana was the king of demons. He was the son of sage Vishrava and demoness Kaikasi. Ravana had 10 heads. He was a staunch follower of Lord Shiva, a great scholar, a capable ruler, and an efficient performer of the Veena. Under Vishrava's guidance, Ravana mastered the Vedas, the holy books, and also the arts and ways of warriors. But he wished to overpower the gods. He had been granted many boons by Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma had also granted him a boon by which he could not be killed by any god or demon. However, Ravana did not ask for protection from men or animals because he thought that he was a great demon and a mere human or animal would never be successful in killing him. Ravana was blessed with many supernatural powers such as flying and becoming invisible. But this also made him very proud. He misused his powers and the gods felt it was necessary to destroy him. It was just because of this fact that Lord Vishnu incarnated himself as a human being named Rama, the Prince of Ayodhya. Later, during his exile, Rama became the reason for Ravana's death. Ravana's realization. After the death of Khara and Dushana, Surupnakha rushed to her brother Ravana in Lanka. Weeping bitterly, she narrated him the whole story of her insult by Lakshman and Khara and Dushana's death by Rama. Knowing Ravana's liking for beautiful women, she also described Sita's beauty, thereby arousing his curiosity about her. She suggested that Ravana should kidnap Sita and make her his wife. Ravana was shocked at the news because Khara and Dushana were as powerful as he, and it was impossible for any ordinary human to kill them. He realized that Rama was no ordinary man, but an incarnation of the Lord himself. He thought of all his cruel deeds that he had committed in his life. He knew that there was no other way that he might be forgiven for his cruelty. So he made a plan so that he might challenge Rama in a battle. He wished to be killed in the battlefield at the hands of the Lord so as to attain salvation. He also thought that he would kidnap Sita and marry her if Rama and Lakshman were some ordinary princes. He thought that in both the cases he would be at an advantage. Rama and the Golden Deer. One day, Ravana went to meet Marich and asked him to help him kidnap Sita. But Marich warned him that Rama, Lakshman and Sita were no ordinary humans but the incarnations of the Lord. Ravana got angry at this and threatened to kill Marich. Marich thought that it was better to be killed at the hands of Lord Rama. So he agreed to help Ravana and changed into a very beautiful golden deer whose body had many precious stones engraved on it. The deer went near Rama's cottage. Sita was attracted by the beauty of the deer and asked Rama to hunt it for her as she wanted to make a wall hanging using its skin. Rama instructed Lakshman to keep a watch over Sita and went to hunt the deer. He took an arrow as powerful as a Brahmastra and shot at the deer. It soon turned into fierce marriage. It cried out, "O Sita, O Lakshman," imitating Rama's voice, and then died. He reached heaven as he got death at the hands of the Lord. This way Rama killed another cruel demon, Marriage, and turned back to return to Sita and inform her of the deer's truth. Sita's abduction. When Sita and Lakshman heard Rama's screaming voice, they got alarmed. Sita begged Lakshman to go and help Rama. Lakshman was in a dilemma as he had promised Rama to protect Sita, but he was worried about Rama's well-being too. So he drew a demarcation line around the cottage with his arrow and told Sita not to step out of the demarcation line so that no harm might come to her. Soon after Lakshman had left, Ravana turned into an old hermit and approached the cottage. He wanted Sita to step out of the demarcation line drawn by Lakshman. He begged for some food. Ravana requested Sita to step forward and give it to him. Sita thought that he was a harmless hermit, so she stepped out of the cottage. As soon as she had done so, Ravana grabbed her and revealed his true identity. Sita was terrified and told Ravana that Rama and Lakshman would find her and punish him for abducting her. She struggled hard, but in vain. Ravana was very strong and quickly overpowered her. He laughed at her and mercilessly dragged her into his flying chariot and took her away to Lanka. Jatayu, the great vulture. Sita wept bitterly as Ravana carried her in his chariot. She was cursing herself for sending Rama to hunt the deer and for not obeying Lakshman's instruction. King of vultures, Jatayu, heard her cry and recognized at once that she was Sita, Rama's wife. He shouted and consoled Sita not to worry as he would kill the foolish demon. He flew towards the chariot with a great speed. Ravana saw him flying towards him. He recognized and laughingly shouted that he would defeat the old vulture with a single punch of his hand. Hearing this, Jatayu became angry and warned Ravana to return Sita. Otherwise, he would have to incur the wrath of Lord Rama. But Ravana refused to return Sita. Jatayu rushed towards him. He held Ravana by the hair and pushed him down from the chariot. Jatayu took Sita down from the chariot. He started hurting Ravana by attacking him with his beak. Ravana initially fainted but regained his senses sometime. Thereafter, he took out his sword and cut off Jatayu's wings. Jatayu fell on the ground crying in pain. Ravana put Sita back on his chariot and flew to Lanka. Ravana takes Sita to Ashokavan. After injuring Jatayu, Ravan put Sita back on his chariot and started flying towards Lanka. Sita was even more terrified now. She shouted for help, but to no avail. Soon Ravana was flying high in the sky towards his capital city of Lanka. The cry of Sita's help could not reach distant Rama and Lakshman. Sita was weeping bitterly. The chariot flew over a mountain where Sita saw some monkeys. She yelled out the name of her husband, Rama, and tied some of her ornaments in a piece of cloth. She threw the cloth down towards the monkeys to be given to Rama as a clue of her wife. Ravana's chariot then reached Lanka. He tried to persuade Sita to marry him and live with him in his palace. He even tried to frighten her. But she did not agree and kept on weeping. So he took Sita to Ashokavan. He dropped her under an Ashoka tree and made all arrangements for her living there. He appointed some of his faithful, horrible she-demons to look after and take care of Sita. She lived there unhappily and was always lost in the memories of her husband Rama. Search for Sita. Marriage had screamed in Rama's voice before dying. So thinking about Sita and Lakshman's worry, Rama hurried towards his cottage. But he was shocked to meet Lakshman on the way. He was angry with Lakshman for leaving Sita alone in the forest. Lakshman apologized for his mistake and told about Sita's insistence in sending him to help Rama. The brothers rushed towards the cottage. After reaching the cottage, they were shocked to see that Sita was not there. The cottage was empty. There was no space around their cottage, which they did not visit repeatedly above and to the back of the hill, within the neighboring forest and by the river, calling Sita's name aloud. They thoroughly searched all the places, but Sita was not found. Rama was going out of his mind in grief. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He touched her paintings and the impressions of her hands on the walls. He put his head against them and cried bitterly. Tired and exhausted, he threw himself on a rock and broke down. He was devastated as he started calling Sita again and again. He was deeply missing his dear wife Sita. Rama in Shabri's ashram. Rama and Lakshman saw the injured Jatayu while searching for Sita. He told Rama that Ravana had kidnapped Sita and had gone towards the south. He died after saying this. Rama performed the rituals of his funeral and headed south. They reached Shabri's cottage. Shabri was a tribal woman. Sage Matang had once told her that Rama would visit her one day. Many years passed by and Shabri grew old. Each day she cleaned her cottage and waited patiently for Rama to visit her. Finally, Rama and Lakshman had arrived at her cottage. Shabri was overjoyed. She washed their feet lovingly. She had collected berries for Rama. She tasted every berry and kept aside the sweetest of them for her lord. Lakshman was shocked to see Shabri offering fruits that she herself had tasted before offering to Rama. But Rama explained to Lakshman that tasting the berries before giving them to him to eat showed Shabri's love and devotion. Rama was happy to accept the sincere offerings and blessed the old lady for her pity. Shabri felt that her greatest desire had been fulfilled by meeting her lord. Asking Rama to grant her salvation, she entered the fire. Narad's curse. Narad was a holy sage. Once he went into meditation that could not be disturbed by anyone. Due to this, he developed a sense of pride. Since Lord Vishnu was concerned of his devotees' pride, he decided to teach him a lesson. One day Narad saw a princess and fell in love with her. He wished to marry her. Narad went to Lord Vishnu and requested that he looked as good as Vishnu. The princess should select him. Lord Vishnu smiled and decided to play a trick on him. At the Swayamvar, Narad got the face of a monkey without his knowledge. When the princess came with a wedding garland, she saw a monkey-faced man. However, next to him was handsome Lord Vishnu. She immediately chose Vishnu as her husband. When Narad saw his reflection in water, he felt cheated. He then cursed Lord Vishnu that a time would come when he too would have to be separated from his love, and then a monkey would help him to get his love back. It was due to his curse that Lord Vishnu was born as Rama and had to be separated from his wife Sita. Rama meets Hanuman. Rama and Lakshman reached near Pampa Lake at the foot of Risyamukha mountain, where the Monkey King Sugriva and his ministers were hiding. Sugriva was being persecuted by his brother Bali. When he saw Rama and Lakshman approaching with bows and arrows, he suspected that they might have been sent by Bali to slay him. He sent his faithful Hanuman to find out the facts. If they were sent by Bali, Sugriva would have escaped Risyamukha mountain. Hanuman approached them in the form of a Brahmin. Rama was impressed to see the Brahmin as he had such a wonderful accent and a captivating way of speaking. The Brahmin asked them who they were. After Rama had revealed their identity as Rama and Lakshman, the princes of Ayodhya, and told that they were wandering in search of his wife Sita, Hanuman identified him as his lord and bowed down in respect of him. He was happy beyond all limits to see Lord Rama and his brother Lakshman. Rama picked him up and embraced him. Hanuman came back to his real form. He informed Rama that Sugriva also lived on the mountain and he was Rama's devotee. So they went to meet Sugriva. Bali and Sugriva. Bali was the Monkey King of Kishkindha. He had a younger brother named Sugriva. Both brothers had great love and respect for each other. The kingdom of Kishkindha had a demon enemy called Mayavi. Tired of his frequent attacks, Bali decided to kill him. Bali went to Mayavi and a violent fight ensued between them. During their fight, they entered a deep dark cave. Sugriva was ordered by Bali to keep a watch outside till Bali emerged out of the cave. Time passed and the sounds of the roaring fight could be heard by Sugriva. Slowly, the sounds got fainter and finally stopped. After waiting for many days, when neither Bali nor the demon came out, Sugriva thought they had both been killed. Feeling sad about on his brother's death, he went back to Kishkindha and became its new king. However, Bali returned after killing Mayavi. When he saw that Sugriva had become the king himself, he thought that he had been betrayed. Though Sugriva tried to explain the misunderstanding, yet Bali attacked and forced him and his team of monkeys to move out of Kishkindha. Bali regained his kingship but became an enemy of Sugriva forever. Birth of Hanuman. Long time ago, Lord Brahma lived with many attendants. Once he was pleased with her beautiful helper Anjana and decided to reward her. In her reward, Anjana asked to be freed from a curse according to which she would become monkey-faced if she fell in love with someone. The Lord granted her wish and told that she would be freed from the curse if an incarnation of Lord Shiva was born to her. Some days later, Anjana met a monkey-faced man, Kesari. She fell in love with him and they were married. One day, Anjana was worshipping Lord Shiva. Suddenly, wind started blowing fast and some payasam fell into her palms from a bird's beak. It was a sacred payasam offered to King Dashrath by Lord Agni to be fed to his wives to get sons. The bird had snatched a part of it in its beak. Anjana ate the payasam believing it to be the Lord's offering. Due to this, an incarnation of Lord Shiva was born to her as her son Hanuman. She was freed from the curse and returned to heaven after handing her son to Kesari. Hanuman grew up inheriting Lord Vayu's unmatched divine powers. He became a great devotee of Lord Rama. The ripe red fruit. Once baby Hanuman was lying in his cradle under the tree. He saw the sun and thought that it was a delicious red and ripe fruit. He wanted to taste the fruit. He made a giant leap to catch the sun. The sun god suddenly saw a monkey coming towards him. Seeing that, he got scared and called for help. Indra heard him and went to the sun god. He was amused by the child's innocence, so he advised him to return to earth. But naughty Hanuman ignored his commands. Indra became angry and struck Hanuman with his violent thunderbolt Vajra. The thunderbolt hit the child, wounding his chin and causing him to fall down to earth. Vayu, the wind god, was terribly angry at this. He took Hanuman and went below the grounds of the earth. As Vayu left the earth, there was no air in the world. People, animals, and trees struggled to breathe and started to die. All the gods went to Vayu and begged him to return to earth. Lord Brahma cured Hanuman's wounds and gave him a boon that he would become immortal. Thus, Vayu returned to earth and everyone became happy. Hanuman is cursed. Hanuman was very naughty as a child. Time and again, there were complaints from the divine beings about Hanuman's mischievous behavior. But most of Hanuman's mischiefs were quite funny. He would tease and torment all the stuffy old gods and demigods. Like any other younger boy, he liked to roam through the forest. Hanuman would jump from tree to tree. He would grab elephants by their tusks and swing them over his head. Hanuman would lift entire mountains and toss them into the sky. In the forest, there lived some sages whose meditations were often disturbed by the noisy mischiefs of Hanuman. He would intentionally irritate them by dousing their sacrificial fires, eating the offered food, and tugging on the sages' beards. The sages were unable to tolerate Hanuman's mischiefs now. So they went to Lord Brahma and complained against Hanuman. To relieve the sages of their troubles, Brahma cursed Hanuman that he had infinite powers, but he would no longer remember that he had those abilities. He would remember his powers only when someone would remind him about them. After cursing the child, Lord Brahma disappeared from there, and Hanuman forgot all his divine powers. Rama and Sugriva. Hanuman increased the size of his body. He then asked Rama and Lakshman to sit on his shoulders. He took the brothers to meet Sugriva. When Hanuman reached Risyamukha mountain with Rama and Lakshman, all the monkeys gathered there to see the handsome princes. Hanuman introduced Rama and Lakshman to the entire army of monkeys. Sugriva embraced them and welcomed them to the forest. Hanuman began narrating Rama's problem and told that he had come to seek Sugriva's help. Hearing of Rama's plight, Sugriva showed him some gold ornaments that were tied in a piece of cloth. Rama recognized that those were Sita's ornaments. He asked Sugriva where he had found them. Sugriva replied that one day he heard a lady screaming Rama's name while the demon king Ravana was carrying her away on a flying chariot. On her way, she had thrown these ornaments down towards us. Rama became very emotional and started weeping on seeing his wife's ornaments. Unable to see Rama's grief, Sugriva, Hanuman, and all the monkeys consoled Rama. They promised that they all would help Rama to bring back Sita from Lanka. Rama became happy and felt relaxed after hearing their promise. Rama kills Bali. Rama heard about Sugriva's brother Bali, who was very powerful and had forcefully kept Sugriva's wife Ruma with him. Rama decided to help Sugriva by killing his brother Bali. Rama and Sugriva made a plan. Sugriva approached Bali for a fight and Rama hid behind a tree. However, just as the fight began, he saw two identical monkeys and was unable to differentiate between Bali and Sugriva. Rama held back his shot. Sugriva was badly beaten by Bali but somehow managed to escape. Then Rama and Sugriva made another plan. They decided that Sugriva would wear a garland to help Rama recognize him. Sugriva then invited Bali for the second time. As the fight began, Rama shot his arrow at Bali's chest, but he did not die. Rama then shot at his back and Bali fell down on the ground. In his final moments, Bali asked Rama why he had helped Sugriva when even Bali could have helped him to get back Sita. Rama told that by making Ruma his queen, Bali had committed a sin. After Rama had explained, Bali, with both palms joined in reverence, begged for forgiveness and said he was blessed to have been killed by the noble Rama. Sugriva's coronation. Before dying, Bali handed his mighty son Angada to Lord Rama. He asked Rama to accept Angada as his servant. Bali instructed Angada to stand by his uncle Sugriva and assist in the divine work of Lord Rama. Bali finally died. After the death of Bali, his wife Tara started weeping bitterly. Rama consoled her and pacified her. Rama sent Lakshman and all other monkeys to Kishkindha for the coronation of Sugriva. Sugriva had recaptured his kingdom and regained his wife Ruma. Angada, the son of Bali, was made heir apparent of Kishkindha. He joined Rama's army and was given important responsibilities in Rama's war against Ravana. Rama did not go to Kishkindha as he was following his father's orders to stay in forest for 14 years. Rama and Lakshman went to live in a cave in the forest on Pravarshan mountain near Kishkindha. Monsoon passed and winter season arrived, but there was no news of Sita. Rama was upset because after becoming the king of Kishkindha, Sugriva had not put in any effort to help him search for Sita. Rama thought that Sugriva had forgotten about his promise after being attracted by the temptation of his kingship. Sugriva keeps his promise. Sugriva was so much absorbed in his kingship that he forgot his promise to help Rama. Rama became angry at this and sent Lakshman to Kishkindha to fetch Sugriva. Meanwhile, Hanuman reminded his master of his commitment. Just then, Lakshman arrived there. He was very angry. Sugriva welcomed him warmly and apologized for his mistake. Lakshman forgave him and they all went to meet Rama. Sugriva apologized to Rama for forgetting about his promise. Rama forgave him and asked him to start Sita's search soon. Sugriva instructed his monkey generals to go towards the south in order to begin the search for Sita. Dividing his men into groups led by his generals Hanuman, Neela, Angad and Bear Jambavan, Sugriva gave them a month's time to finish their search and come back with the news of Sita's whereabouts. Anyone who would not return within the stipulated time would be punished by Sugriva. Having full faith in Hanuman, Rama blessed him personally and gave his ring to him and instructed him to give it to Sita after confirming her that he was Rama's messenger. All monkeys then greeted Rama, Lakshman and Sugriva and headed towards the south to begin their search for Sita. Monkeys search for Sita. Monkeys searched for Sita in every forest. They asked every Brahmin, sage and passerby who met them on their way. They all were very tired and thirsty but could not find water. Hanuman climbed over the mountain's peak and looked around. At some distance, he saw a cave in the ground where many birds were entering. He took all the monkeys there and entered the cave. Inside the cave was a beautiful garden with a pond. There was a temple and a lady was sitting there. Monkeys drank water and ate tasty fruits. The lady then asked everyone to close his eyes. They opened their eyes after some time and found that they were on the seashore. The monkeys were worried as 1 month had passed, but they had no news of Sita. Just then, a vulture named Sampati saw them. He thought of eating them, but his intentions changed when he heard the news of his brother Jatayu's death from Angada. He decided to help the monkeys. He informed that through his sharp vision, he could see Sita on the other side of the sea, sitting tense in Ashokavan in Lanka, the kingdom of demon king Ravana. Hanuman recalls his powers. Sampati the vulture told the monkeys that whosoever could cross the giant sea would be able to find Sita. Everyone was puzzled because they knew about their inability to cross the ocean. At that moment, Jambavan reminded Hanuman that he was the son of Vayu and had inherited all his unmatched divine powers. Hanuman was able to recall his powers. He increased the size of his body to match the size of a mountain and began to fly over the sea and the seashore. He was excited to discover his powers. The monkeys were happy to see him flying. Now everyone became confident that Hanuman would cross the ocean very easily and reach Ashokavan to meet Sita. Hanuman greeted Jambavan and instructed all the monkeys to wait for him at the seashore till he returned from Lanka. Then, carrying the ring which Rama had given to him, he flew towards the south over the sea to meet goddess Sita. Journey towards Lanka. Hanuman was flying over the ocean to reach Ashokavan. The gods saw Hanuman and sent Sursa, the mother of snakes, to test him. She told Hanuman that she wanted to eat him, but Hanuman told her that he would come back to him once he informed Rama about Sita's well-being. When Sursa did not agree, Hanuman started increasing the size of his body. Sursa also made her mouth bigger. Then Hanuman eventually became so small in size that he entered her open mouth and flew out immediately. Sursa was very pleased at his intelligence and blessed him that he would accomplish Lord Rama's work. Hanuman then flew across to a mountain from which he could see the fortress of Lanka. The city was surrounded by water on all sides. There were houses of gold studded with precious gems. There were beautiful gardens, lakes, wells, and mountains. There were markets, beautiful roads, and well-maintained lanes. There were demons of different kinds who looked very powerful. Strong fighters and warriors were posted at various corners of the city to protect it from enemies. Hanuman thought that the residents of Lanka were destined to die with the sharp arrows of Rama. Trijata and her dream. Ravana had kept Sita in Ashokavan in Lanka. Amongst Ravana's demonesses guarding Sita, there was an old and wise demoness named Trijata. She was very wise and a devotee of Rama. She explained all the demonesses to serve Sita. She also told them about a dream she had seen in which a monkey had entered Lanka and burnt it, killing many demons. She also saw Ravana sitting on a donkey with his head shaven and all his 20 hands had been cut off. Rama and Lakshman were riding towards Lanka on their Pushpak Viman. She said that she also saw Ravana's sons and all the demons going southwards riding on pigs, while Vibhishan, dressed in a white robe, was the only one flying safely across the skies. Trijata added that she later dreamt Rama, Lakshman and Sita shining as bright as the sun, going northwards on a four-tusked elephant. Finally, as the gods rejoiced, Lanka sank into the sea. She was sure her dream would come true. Hearing this, all the demonesses got scared and fell at Sita's feet. Trijata also consoled Sita by explaining her Rama's strength and valor and that he would rescue her soon. Hanuman meets Sita. Seeing the security arrangements in Lanka, Hanuman took the form of a mosquito and flew towards Lanka. But he was stopped by Lankini, a demoness who used to guard the city. Hanuman gave her one blow with which she fell down and vomited out blood. Then Hanuman searched each and every palace in Lanka, but he could not find Sita. Furthermore, he met Ravana's brother Vibhishan, who was a devotee of Rama. He told Hanuman that Sita was in Ashokavan. Hanuman met Sita and gave her Rama's ring. Sita happily blessed Hanuman. Hanuman then created havoc by breaking all the flowers, uprooting trees, and even killing a few of Ravana's soldiers. The news soon reached Ravana. He sent his fighters to kill Hanuman, but Hanuman defeated them. Then Ravana sent his son Akshay Kumar, who was also killed by Hanuman. Hearing about the death of his son Akshay Kumar, Ravan sent his son Meghnath and told him to bring Hanuman to the court. Meghnath went to Ashokavan and tried his Brahma Pasha on Hanuman. Hanuman willingly got himself tied in it. Otherwise, it would have been a disrespect towards Lord Brahma. He was thus taken prisoner and carried to Ravana. Hanuman burns Lanka. Hanuman was taken to Ravana's court and he told Ravana that he was the messenger of Sita's husband Rama. Hanuman then asked Ravana to leave Sita, otherwise Rama would kill him. Ravana became angry and told his soldiers to punish him by setting his tail on fire. Hanuman's tail was tied up with a piece of cloth dipped in ghee, but all the cloth in Lanka was consumed as Hanuman went on increasing the length of his tail. As Hanuman's tail was set alight, he started jumping from place to place, setting Lanka ablaze. People started running for protection. There was destruction all around. All houses were reduced to ashes. Hanuman did not get hurt by the fire because he was a messenger of the Lord Rama. After burning Lanka, he jumped into the ocean to put out the fire on his tail. He then met Sita and told her that she should give him some remembrance to give it to Rama. Sita took out her bangle and gave it to Hanuman. She then told Hanuman to tell Rama that she would die if he did not rescue her within 1 month. Hanuman told her that their army would soon come to rescue her. Vibhishan was punished. Hanuman had burnt the whole city, but Ravana got his city rebuilt in 1 day. His wife Mandodari was now afraid. She pleaded with him to stop the war and return Sita to Rama. Ravana just laughed it off and told Mandodari not to be worried as he would easily defeat Rama and his monkeys. Vibhishan also came to Ravana and, falling at his feet, told him that he should not even look at another person's wife if he wanted fame and fortune in life. Malyavan was a learned minister in Ravana's court. He also told Ravana that Vibhishan's words were true. But this angered Ravana because they were praising his enemy. Ravana told him that he was being a traitor by taking the enemy's side. None had ever defeated him, so he had nothing to fear. Vibhishan then talked to the people of Lanka and warned them that they would soon meet with their nemesis if they supported Ravana. Ravana punished Vibhishan for poisoning the ears of his subjects. He kicked Vibhishan and threw him out of Lanka. Vibhishan was sad that his brother had not listened to his sound words. He decided to go to Rama and serve him. Rama prays to the ocean. Hanuman returned to the seashore where all the monkeys and Jambavan were waiting for him. All were happy at having accomplished the task assigned to them. They all then went to Rama. Rama embraced Hanuman. Hanuman gave him Sita's bangle and message. Hearing his words, Rama's eyes were filled with tears. He was lost in the sweet memories of his wife Sita. Just then Vibhishan reached there. He then told Rama that he had come to Rama for shelter. Rama embraced him as he was a disciplined demon. Vibhishan then suggested Rama to take permission from the ocean and ask for a solution to cross it. Rama, with both palms joined in reverence, sat in deep meditation to pray to the ocean. Rama prayed for 5 days, but the ocean did not give way. Rama got angry and took his bow and arrow. Just then, the sea god appeared and asked for forgiveness. Rama forgave him. The sea god said that he could not dry out to give way to Rama as it supported many living creatures inside it. But he suggested that the monkey generals Nala and Neela could help him. The bridge. After giving instructions to Rama, the sea god greeted him and disappeared. Rama instructed everyone to get into action quickly. Jambavan called both the monkey brothers Nala and Neela. Nala and Neela were the descendants of divine architect Vishwakarma. Jambavan instructed them to construct a bridge over the ocean after remembering the divinity and greatness of Rama. The brothers laid out a plan for the construction of a bridge that would float in the ocean. All the monkeys went inside the surrounding forests and uprooted large trees, collected bamboos, huge rocks and a lot of sand and brought them to Nala and Neela. Nala and Neela suggested that if they wrote Rama's name on them, the heavy boulders would not sink but float in the ocean. All the monkeys began writing Rama's name on each collected material and putting in the ocean for the construction of the bridge. The bridge was soon constructed. The gods happily showered flowers from the heavens. Following Sugriva's instructions, Rama and Lakshman climbed onto Hanuman's and Angad's shoulders respectively. The two brave monkeys carried them across the bridge. Then the huge army of monkeys followed. Some jumped, some screamed, while others danced as they marched on bravely towards Lanka. Rama and the squirrel. As soon as Nala and Neela laid the plan, all the monkeys began building the bridge. Rama, Lakshman and Sugriva watched them happily. Just then, Rama saw a squirrel which was watching everything from its burrow. It was happy at the sight of Lord Rama and his brother Lakshman. It decided to help Rama in the divine job of rescuing Sita and killing Ravana. It began picking up sand and scattered twigs and scurried back and forth from the shore to the sea. Little by little, the squirrel had gathered an entire heap. Then, chanting Lord Rama's name, it rolled over the heap of sand and ran to the end of the bridge to shake off the sand from its back. Rama was pleased at the dedication of this tiny creature. He lovingly picked it up on his palm and caressed it by warmly stroking its back with his 3 fingers. The squirrel received 3 lines on its back. It was pleased with this beautiful gift of Rama. Since then, squirrels have 3 lines on their bodies. These stripes on the backs of Indian squirrels are believed to be the mark of Lord Rama's fingers. Angada goes to Ravana. After crossing the ocean, Rama and his army of monkeys landed on Subela mountain. On Jambavan's advice, Rama decided that before starting the war, he should send a final message to Ravana through Angada. Angada greeted all the elders and went to meet Ravana. He reached Ravana's court and told that Rama had sent a final warning to him to return Sita. Ravana told that he did not fear Rama because there was no one in his army that could defeat him. Ravana further insulted Rama, which made Angada feel angry. Angada forcefully stepped his foot in Ravana's court and promised that Rama would accept his defeat by Ravana and return without Sita if anyone could move his foot. Ravana ordered many of his faithful men, but none succeeded in moving Angada's foot. Then Ravana himself came to move Angada's foot, but Angada insulted him, saying that he should touch the feet of Rama instead of him. Angada then returned to Rama and told that Ravana was not ready for the settlement. Weapons were collected and divisions in the army were formed. Rama chose experienced warriors like Gaj, Gavai and Gavaksh to lead the guard. The battle with Meghnath. While preparing for the battle, Rama saw some good omens and understood that he would be victorious. The famous battle began at midnight. Rama ordered the army of monkeys to attack. The monkeys rushed forward and hurled huge boulders against the city walls and gates. At the very beginning, Rama and Lakshman killed 6 demon chiefs of Ravana. The battle continued for a long time. Thousands were killed and the ground was soaked in blood. Then Rama and Lakshman began to search for Ravana's son, Meghnath. Meghnath had been granted the boon of remaining invisible. He started firing arrows at the monkey squad who failed to discover the source of these attacks. Rama and Lakshman understood that Meghnath was behind these invisible attacks. But before they could do anything, Meghnath took out his famous Nagpash weapon and shot at the brothers. This weapon was a huge snake that coiled up like a rope. As Rama and Lakshman struggled to get out of the wrap, Meghnath shot several snake arrows at the brothers. These arrows pierced their bodies and made them feel unconscious. Seeing Rama and Lakshman almost dead, Meghnath rushed to his father's court to give him the news. Rama spares Ravana. Ravana was rejoicing at the success of his son and the death of Rama and Lakshman. Then he received news from a secret messenger that Rama and Lakshman were still alive. To kill Rama and Lakshman, Ravana sent Prahasta, his most powerful demon soldier, to the battlefield. Unfortunately, he too was killed in the battlefield. Losing all his men one by one, Ravana decided to go to the battlefield himself. As he arrived with his collection of special weapons, he saw that arrows were coming from all directions. Resplendent in his chariot, Ravana positioned himself and started to strike back. Within minutes, he killed hundreds of monkeys. Seeing this, both Rama and Lakshman started firing their weapons at Ravana and gradually weakened him. The demon king Ravana was wounded and his golden crown and his chariot had broken. Without a weapon, Ravana stood helpless on the battlefield. Rama walked up to him and said, "It is not right to fight a soldier when he is unarmed. I spare you. Go back and come fully armed tomorrow." Ravana lowered his face in shame and went back to his palace. The boons to the demon brothers. Once, when the 3 demon brothers, Ravana, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishan were young, they went off to do a penance. Pleased with them, Lord Brahma appeared before the brothers and asked each of them for his desired boon. Ravana asked for power. He desired to be the king of the world. Brahma said, "So be it. I grant you the boon." His brother Kumbhakarna had planned that he would want to have dominion over heaven, and he wanted Indra's throne. Indra realized Kumbhakarna's wicked intention. He went to goddess Saraswati and asked her to create some magic so that Kumbhakarna might make a mistake while asking for his boon. Saraswati agreed to help him. Lord Brahma then asked Kumbhakarna what he wanted. Kumbhakarna opened his mouth, but instead of saying that he wanted Indra's asan, he said that he wanted Nidra's asan. Brahma fulfilled his desire by saying that he granted him the posture of sleep. Vibhishan, in his turn, desired for pure devotion to Lord Rama, and Lord Brahma granted his wish and said that one day he would meet Lord Rama and his brother Lakshman and offer his services to them. Kumbhakarna's death. When Rama spared Ravana because of being unarmed, he returned from the battlefield humiliated and insulted. Instead of going back himself to the battlefield again, he decided to send his brother Kumbhakarna to fight against Rama and Lakshman. Kumbhakarna, who used to sleep for 6 months at a time, became furious when he was awakened much before the completion of 6 months period. Ravana explained to him the urgent situation. Hearing that Ravana had kidnapped Rama's wife, Kumbhakarna was frightened and told Ravana that Rama was no ordinary human, but an incarnation of the Lord himself, so Ravana should not battle with him. Instead, he should ask for his forgiveness. Ravana became angry and asked him to stop praising his enemy. Seeing the gigantic Kumbhakarna on the battlefield, the monkeys started fleeing in all directions. Kumbhakarna then grabbed a handful of monkeys and ate them up. Meanwhile, the arrows that Rama and his army fired at Kumbhakarna broke on hitting his strong body. Finding the arrows ineffective, Rama decided to cut off his head. So he flung his chakra, which severed the demon's head. The monkeys came back once again and rejoiced to see the dead body of the giant demon. The magical herb. Seeing his brother's severed head, Ravana was grief-stricken. Kumbhakarna's death was a major loss for the whole of Lanka. Ravana was deeply worried as he could easily see his defeat in the battle with Rama. When Meghnath saw his father worried, he consoled him and entered the battlefield once again. With his magical powers, Meghnath launched an attack from his flying chariot. Hundreds of monkeys were killed on the spot. He then began a tough fight against Lakshman and ultimately shot his Agni Ban on Lakshman, due to which Lakshman fell unconscious. It was near death. On seeing Lakshman unconscious, Hanuman approached Lanka's royal physician Sushena for advice. Sushena asked Hanuman to rush to the Himalayas, where on Dronagiri hills he would find some medicinal herbs like Mritha Sanjeevani, Vishalya Karani, Sandhana Karani and Savarnya Karani. He asked Hanuman to fetch those herbs. However, on reaching the hills, Hanuman was unable to identify the herbs. So he uprooted the entire hill and brought it to physician Sushena. Sushena picked the 4 herbs and cured Lakshman's wounds. Lakshman was revived from near death back to life. Hanuman then took back the uprooted hill to affix it at its original place and rejoined the army. Meghnath's death. Enraged by the injury of Lakshman, Sugriva ordered his army to take fire torches and attack Lanka. The monkeys soon started setting Lanka's palaces on fire. Many demon families lost their lives. Now Rama let loose his arrows. The giant high doorway of Lanka broke into pieces. During the attacks, Kumbhakarna's sons Kumbha and Nikumbha were killed at the hands of the monkeys. Thus Meghnad once again decided to go to the battlefield. But before that, Meghnad began his yagya to gain immortality. So Rama sent Lakshman, who disturbed Meghnad's immortality yagya. Thus his yagya remained incomplete. Meghnad was furious. Both Lakshman and Meghnad got engaged in a bloody battle. They were not exhausted even after fighting bitterly. On Vibhishan's suggestion, all the monkeys surrounded Meghnad. Lakshman killed his charioteer and spliced off his bow. Meghnad went to Lanka and returned with a new chariot. Lakshman continued his onslaught with determination. Vibhishan killed Meghnad's horses. Then, climbing onto Hanuman's shoulders, Lakshman pierced Meghnad's chest using his Indrastra. In no time, Meghnad fell down to the ground, his head broken and his arms cut off. He finally died. A wave of joy ran through the army of monkeys at this victory. Death of Ravana. The joyous shout of Rama's army was enough to convince Ravana of Meghnad's death. Breaking down in his huge chamber, Ravana felt his defeat was near. Yet he had to fight on. Lonely, he prepared for the battle ahead. Ravana mounted his chariot and went to the battlefield. He stood face to face with Rama. Rama shot one arrow after another to cut off his heads, but they grew back again. Ravana laughed seeing them. Rama grew anxious. The gods asked Indra to help Rama. Indra sent his celestial chariot driven by Matali. As the chariot descended on earth, Rama quickly climbed onto it and started firing weapons. Rama took out his Brahmastra, chanting Parvati's name, and aimed it at Ravana's navel, inside which he had tied his pouch carrying Amrit, the nectar of immortality. The potent weapon pierced his body, and the pouch and Ravana fell down dead. Loud cheers echoed through Lanka. Flowers were showered from the heavens above. The gods announced the end of Ravana. Vibhishan refused to do the last riots, but Rama explained that he was after all a brother and had died like a warrior too. So Ravana deserved a proper funeral.
Thanks for watching. Do like, share, subscribe to Sahil Book House.